The Key Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
And I wish to use this platform to restate my commitment to transparent and accountable governance. In my past presidency, I had the privilege of launching the 10-year National Anti-Corruption Action Plan in 2015. And I'm pleased to report to you that just yesterday, Cabinet approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2026 to 2030 for onward transmission to Parliament. I'm also happy to announce to you that yesterday Cabinet took a decision directing the Attorney General to draft a bill for the protection of state assets. It's called the State Assets Protection Bill. It shows the guidelines under which any state asset can be disposed, including lands, buildings, state assets, factories, industry, so that no government just capriciously disposes of state assets.
That is Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, talking about measures put in place as one of the layers to fight corruption in this country. But there's a conversation we're going to be having this morning regarding that particular topic of corruption. Toby Apede has been speaking about this, and then also a number of other state actors and statesmen, for that matter, and how that is robbing us as a country of the needed resources. There's been some proposals made as to how this can be tackled. One very controversial one, but which has caught the attention of many, is that you should have state, or that is public officers, appointees of a government, stay in the country at least 1 year after they leave office, so that when they are being looked for to account for their stewardship to the people, it will not be a tug of war. Well, the individual who made this proposal is going to be joining us this morning. We'll have a conversation. But also the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono, has lost her legal action at the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, challenging her removal from office by the state. Now, this is one of a number of cases running. The court proceedings information revealed that all 7 claims of human rights violations by Justice Tokono were dismissed, in the process leading to her removal. In an abridged judgment delivered earlier in the week, the court held that Ghana did not violate Justice Tokono's rights to a fair hearing, dignity, information, and work under the Africa Charter on Human Rights, and that's a human and people's rights. But consequently, the court also dismissed all the relief sought by the former Chief Justice, including the $10 million that she was seeking to be paid to her. Now, this has not ended. This matter hasn't ended as we speak, because the Supreme Court of Ghana, there are a number of cases also running regarding this removal of the former Chief Justice. Four cases that are still pending before the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has taken a decision to consolidate all these cases. We understand July 2, the 2nd of July, is the date to watch. They're going to deliver a judgment regarding these 4 cases that also relate to the removal of the former Chief Justice. Now, that's a conversation we're going to be having this morning, because within the week as well, the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono, has taken another step. We'll talk about it. This matter is not ending anytime soon. We'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. Also, this morning, the Ministry of the Interior revoked all firearm permits in the country and directed all licensed gun owners to undergo a fresh registration process as part of the new measures to strengthen public safety. Well, the sector minister, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, had good reason to do this, but had some persons questioning the legal basis for this particular decision. Well, we'll have a conversation this morning here on the Key Point. The reason why I'm dressed this way is of the obvious. As you know, the Black Stars of Ghana will be playing their last group stage match later today. And so we'll dedicate some time to talk about the Black Stars ahead of tonight. So stay with us and join us, as always, here on The Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London Television as well. My guests, George Mrekuduka Esquire, will be joining us in the studio. Also, Martin Pebu Esquire will be joining us. Kofi Bento Esquire will be joining us. Godwin Ejudita Maklo Esquire will be joining us. And also, Edem Senanu is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. And Professor Bafwa Jimendua, he is a governance expert, a former UN senior advisor on governance, would also be joining us. Stay with us. My name is Alfred Okansi. Welcome. We'll be back shortly after this quick break.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abinanya Kwasumini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana, the conversation on climate security implications in Ghana, the Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra, starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
The Ghanaian lady to win the all-new 20th anniversary crown, 200,000 Ghana cedis cash, brand new car, and all-expense paid trip abroad, a scholarship for a master's program, participate in an international event, a Zodorio deal, a set of gold jewelry, and many more. Join the audition journey. Masi on 8th July at Micklin Hotel, Takrady on 10th July at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, in Accra on 12th July at TV3. Scan the QR code now to register.
GMV at 20. 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years.
Brought to you by
Gino.
And I wish to use this platform to restate my commitment to transparent and accountable governance. In my past presidency, I had the privilege of launching the 10-year National Anti-Corruption Action Plan in 2015. And I'm pleased to report to you that just yesterday, Cabinet approved the new National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2026 to 2030 for onward transmission to Parliament. I'm also happy to announce to you that yesterday Cabinet took a decision directing the Attorney General to draft a bill for the protection of state assets. It's called the State Assets Protection Bill. It shows the guidelines under which any state asset can be disposed, including lands, buildings, state assets, factories, industry, so that no government just capriciously disposes of state assets.
Well, that's the former president who also made that particular comment. That's Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo made that comment about corruption regarding how the country has also been robbed. The current president has gone on the same path, John Dramani Mahama, talking about corruption as well. All presidents in the Fourth Republic have all talked about corruption, and that mantra is not changing. What has been done to fight this corruption canker? It's a conversation that we're having this morning. Also, a number of civil society organizations have made proposals also in the fight against corruption. But the most important element here is the people. And that's why you have a number of polls that have gone to the people asking questions about corruption and how this also is robbing us as a country of the needed resources. There's a proposal by one of my guests who's going to be joining us shortly, that is Kofi Bento, that there should be a legislation that when state officers or appointees of a government finish serving their term, they should be made to stay in the country at least a minimum of 1 year so that if there's anything found for them to answer for, it will not be a tug of war to bring them back into the country. And this is in direct reference to the matter related to the former finance minister, Kenneth Nanaya Kuntunkurunku Furiata. Now, this morning, just as you heard the president talk about the ethics, that's the National Anti-Corruption and Ethics Policy that he, together with his government, has put together, a reference was made as well to certain policies and programs that the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also put in place. How did that also help in the fight against corruption? A number of people have been talking about it. And then this start off with Togbi Apede, the 14th, the Agbogbo Mafia of the Aglo State. He says, corruption, that is corrupt citizens, are termites at the woodwork, eating at the very foundations of our development. We need to smoke all of them out and make Ghana a shining star. He continues that let's continue to take pride in our football, in our national endowments, but let's begin to take pride in our honesty as well. While Ghana has made significant gains in democratic governance and economic development over the years, corruption remains one of the major obstacles to national transformation. Citizens, institutions, and political leaders must demonstrate greater commitment to transparency and ethical conduct. Honesty and integrity should become core national values. This is the clarion call by Togbi Apede, the 14th, on this matter of corruption. But let me welcome my guest joining me in the studio quickly. George Mekoduka is former member of parliament for Takwa Shayam constituency, also a former deputy minister of lands and natural resources, and he's a private legal practitioner as well. Honorable George Mekoduka, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you very much for having me.
It's your first time here, so we welcome you in a special way.
Thank you. Thank you. On your show, yes, but not in other, programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Met on Joy FM. Yeah. At least once. But the deputy minister, I'm sure those days we were all over many radio stations and TV stations.
I even did a presentation here.
Okay.
Yeah, myself.
Also joining us is Martin Kpebu. As you have just heard him, he's a private legal practitioner as well. And then also he is a member of the oral preparatory team that has finished their work. I think I need to put that out.
Yeah.
Council, good morning.
Yeah, morning. Yes, I'm laughing because, the MPP coined this mantra, Ora is dead, Ora is dead. Now today, Untimi is facing judgment and is asking for extension. I was like, you see, if they hadn't put pressure on the government that Ora is dead, Untimi could have had this extension easily.
Really?
Easily, yeah, no. Once a new lawyer comes, it's easy to get an adjournment. But because of this, Ora Yamutu, all those things, now their words are coming to bite them. I support his attachment's request for some time. Yeah, I think the judge should grant him a bit of time. You see, Ghana is not coming to an end. You forget about what they did when they were in government, etc. It's all right. This judge should show them leadership. He should grant it. We know what they did, okay? But the judge should be father for all. Grant the adjournment a bit. Why not? We still have about 3 weeks. I mean, when I say 3 weeks, from 6th of July. Mm-hmm. The judgment is slated for Friday, 3rd July. But Friday, 3rd July is a public holiday. So
yes,
if for the judge to work, yes, it can be allowed. But because of our political circumstances, I don't think the judge would do it. So most likely, he will sit on Monday, 6th July, I think. And Monday, 6th. So my point is that we have up to 31st of July before we go on the vacation. So 3 weeks more, they can do
but
something.
the Attorney General is opposing that.
Yeah. No, I'm not dealing with that. No. Look, it's the politics of it. That's what they did to him. They were trolling him. Ora is dead. That's the thing. Otherwise, you ask any experienced practitioner, once a new lawyer comes, we all know that it appears it's a ploy to delay. But once a new lawyer has come, you have to grant him a bit of time. It's not something, but for their attitude, it's not something that would have even attracted public attention. But when you go trolling a government that its flagship program on corruption, etc., is dead, that's what the Attorney General will do. Anyway, so I support his call for an adjournment to give him time. So let me go to my ritual. I haven't just today instead of
just preliminary.
We'll give you
because I just wanted to chip in.
Yes, that you support.
If the judge is acting because of the oral kind of activity.
No, I said the Attorney General.
You know, we need to allow the law to work. That's all. So the law must work.
If you do that, he won't do this because under the law, the same law, he can say
the law permits that extension.
Okay,
and
the law also allows him to go ahead on the SIP.
Yes.
So just don't say the law should appeal that you should take that part that can.
That is persuasive. That is persuasive. But you shouldn't say because the judge is working, it's as a result
I said the Attorney General.
The Attorney General is working as a result of the pressure put on Ora. That is all that I'm disputing.
No,
maybe,
he said it.
Maybe it's a fact that he's accumulated. I was there as a witness. And
yes, you were a witness to this case.
Yes, I was.
For Chairman Wontumi.
Yes.
I see.
As a deputy minister, you know, and my role, whether or not he had that concession legally, and whether or not there were instances where security details were sent to the concession for recalcitrant to be clamped down.
Great.
Those were things that
so I don't intend for us to adjudicate this matter on them. Yes, because
it was
it's still
just
an active
a flat
case.
anyway.
But then again,
that is
it's just a point
in the exonerate oral, you know.
Okay. Anyway.
So Mr. Can say hi. Today instead of my usual this ritual of greeting Togbe after the 14th, etc. Please, I want to appeal to Ghanaians. Look, there's this problem on our hands, the matter of getting Ofori-Atta down. You know Abu Trika, right? And Daniel.
We were going to go into
yes, let me just mention in one sentence.
Okay,
Abu Trika and then Daniel Yusuf. We should use them as our bargaining chips. Government should not make a mistake of extraditing them to the US when we don't have visibility on when Ofori-Atta will come down.
Okay.
It's very, very important because if we make a mistake and allow Abu Trika and Daniel Yusuf to be extradited, we are finished. Then where's your bargaining chip? Because you see, the Attorney General went there, was it last week, Saturday, we discussed it, right? So he went the week before. I'm sure that is because of these guys. You know, the Americans will put pressure, and we don't have that muscle like Iran to withstand America and humiliate them. We don't, at the governmental level, we don't have the kind of Iranian power. So it's the citizens who need to get up. Citizens need to get up and also join this conversation, petitions, etc., to the president, to the Attorney General, demonstrations, etc. Because they just want to take these guys and go. They won't bring you Ofori-Atta lightly. We've already analyzed this thing. So please, we should use Daniel Yusuf and Abu Trika as our bargaining chips. All right? Our bargaining chips. Mr. Council, and then the District Assembly Common Fund. And you see the part that they pay to the MPs. I think it's about time. Yeah, the lawsuit. It's about time we stopped. Because look, let's give the money to the assemblies to do the development. When you pay money to an MP's personal funds and he goes to marry a third wife, fourth wife, how much control do you have? The Auditor General has been complaining about breaches. But you see, whenever the administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund goes to the Parliament, they don't discuss that part because the money comes to them. That's the MP's Common Fund. Let's stop it.
Right.
Give all the money to the District Assembly. MPs should not be receiving Common Fund into their personal accounts. They'll marry third, fourth wives, and then what do you do?
But this matter has been challenged, right? It's in court.
Yes.
So we'll wait to see what the outcome will be, in fact, because there's also another aspect of how the assemblies need the money to deal with matters of sanitation and so on, because of how we've seen what's happening. And some of them can't
is it
even deal
important
with
for
the
me to
sanitation
clarify that
situation.
point?
Just briefly.
Okay, that MP's Common Fund is not paid into their personal account.
Okay.
They have a dedicated account that sits with the Assembly. I have been a municipal chief executive before and a member of Parliament as well. And I know how these monies are dispersed, at the Assembly. So it's not deposited in a personal account as being...
Who controls it?
The Assembly. And you need to provide the details of the project you're going to use the fund for before it is even given out.
Okay.
So that the MCA can decide that I'm not giving it to you.
No, it doesn't work like that in practice. Otherwise,
All right.
the newspapers would have been awash with.
That is
DC.
how it's supposed
It's
to be.
not.
So if you're saying it's
Okay.
then
It's
there must be
personal.
checks and balances.
It's their
I think
personal
there's a
account.
It's not a personal
There's a
account,
certain
actually.
position of understanding. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but
That
that's
is
not what it is.
in
Yes.
reality.
It's not what they
I
are
have
So
not
there-
seen
I
that.
think
because,
yes,
for
we
example,
can- we
if I'm
can settle that.
assessing my fund, I need to write
Absolutely.
to the chief executive.
I think
No,
it's
it
clear
doesn't
how,
work
how
like
it
that,
should be.
practice.
But then, unfortunately, that's not what the reality is on the ground, and that's what we're going.
Yeah.
to
I even have my third and fourth quarter sitting with the assembly now.
I see.
That's
it hasn't been
you.
utilized.
But other people. Mm-mm.
We'll deal with that matter maybe sometime to come, because this is a case that is still in court. It's something we're following quite closely as well. Also joining us shortly is Gordon Ejudi Tamaklo. He's being put together right now. He's the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and also a private legal practitioner. Is joining us shortly, together with Kofi Bentel. Now, and I'll start with you, Counsel,
Yes, sir.
on this matter. And I started with the quote attributed to the Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbi Apete the 40. You normally would mention him. Today you
Yes.
say you have to skip him because
Yes.
you deal with other matters.
Yes.
But if you look at this is what the latest the Global Info Analytics survey is talking about. One, regarding the fight against corruption. This was just about 2 weeks ago that this was conducted, and Musa Dankwa put this together. 56% of the respondents as of March 2026 said that there's been an improvement in the fight against corruption. That reduced by some 2 percentage points to 54%. Fast forward to June, that's 2026, just about some. And then when you go look at the bar that represents those who say, look, the fight against corruption has worsened. That has increased from 18% to 21%. And then those who say they have no opinion has also increased. In fact, it's reduced by 1 percentage point. Is the government doing well enough to fight corruption? Compared to March 2026, there's been an improvement in June 2026 respondents who say the government is fighting corruption. Just about 2 percentage point improvement. Then that same difference you see in those who are saying, no, the government is not doing enough to fight corruption. That's not all. In fact, if you look at the IEA report as well, it also points to corruption as one of the major issues that they are also looking at when it comes to assessing the president, John Dramani Mahama's term in office, at least the last 15 months that they looked at. Take that into consideration and look at what the context in which Togbi Apete the 14 puts this matter of the fight against corruption as being looked at as termites at the woodwork, eating at the very foundations of our development. Would you subscribe to that proposal that, look, after you've finished serving your term as a public officer or an appointee, and this is what Kofi Bentel has been saying, and we'll have to find exactly what informs that position. Stay in the country until a certain time when there's no question for you to answer. Then you can be allowed to leave, at least a minimum of 1 year. Is it a sound proposal to consider?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in the fight against corruption?
Absolutely, it is. It's one of the new things we can add. Every day we are learning how to add more tools, right? More tools to or more weapons to our arsenals so that we can fight corruption better. It is. And when NDC won, one of the things the foot soldiers started shouting was that close the borders, close the airports. Yes, I know it doesn't literally mean close them in such a way that nobody can travel. But it was clear to them that make sure that Akufo-Addo's appointees don't run away. So that's the same thing Kofi Bentel is repeating. The foot soldiers took the lead more than a year ago. As soon as the elections were won, they kept shouting, close the borders, close the airports, close the borders, close the airports. So that is it. It would help because we all know that that's how come where Kisej have been allowed Ofori-Atta to flee. So when there's an express rule that nobody leaves, of course, by all means, you hear to every rule there's an exception. And then perhaps in the law we'll put it in such a way that when you are going to deal with an exception to allow somebody to travel, there will be a lot of transparency, including informing the public before the person leaves, so that just in case the reasons the person is giving are very flimsy. You know, they say democracy is crowd wisdom, right? So when you put the information out that we are assessing Esimesi's application to leave the jurisdiction before 1 year, example, on medical grounds, I'm sure the doctors around, somebody will see something wrong. That's assuming the Esimesi who wants to travel is making something up, because democracy is crowd wisdom. So I believe that we should go in that direction. But once you have mentioned that, let's also quickly add the point that where are we on the new asset declaration law? Where are we on that asset declaration law? You know, when the president addressed us on the SONA, he said he had given the bill to Parliament.
Yes.
But you see, usually, I don't know if Parliament, they are changing the law now, but under Article 106, it says that before even Parliament will get to discuss, lay it, etc., it must first be published in the Gazette. The Gazette is usually at the Assembly press. So it's a newspaper. Let's call it a special this kind of newspaper. So when you go to Assembly Press, you can get a copy.
Yes.
I've been there ad nauseam many times, can't get a copy. Went to Parliament, still can't get a copy. So maybe we use this medium. Sure, the president watches TV3. That the bill he mentioned in SONA in February, that it had been taken to Parliament. We are interested. We've been chasing all along, trying to get a copy. That's the bill on the asset declaration law. And why are we interested? We want to be sure that are there provisions that say that when a public officer publishes his assets, a public officer declares his assets, those assets will be published online. Okay. Because when you say newspaper, over 5,000 appointees, it will be difficult. Maybe we can do the top people in the newspapers and the Gazette, but we should add online, digital. You see, yes. So we want to see verification. So you know, see that Dom Leveau always say that there can be anticipatory declarations. So Mr. Okansi is made Minister of Finance. Then he knows that, oh, this office there, I know by the time I'm leaving, I'll make $10 million. So he will go and put in houses that he has not yet already acquired. So Dom Leveau calls it anticipatory declaration. So verification is important. So when you declare today, officers will go and verify that everything you say you own today really exists, not that you are anticipating and so you've added things that you are yet to acquire. So Mr. President, please, we need to see that bill. I think Parliament, the Speaker should do well. Let's obey the Constitution, because it's stated in Article 106 that before Parliament deals with anything, send it to the Gazette, send it, because democracy is crowd wisdom. The parliamentarians alone don't have all the wisdom. Let citizens also participate.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, let me acknowledge it quickly. So, Council, I'll come to you so that you end the point that you are making. Kofi Bento is private legal practitioner, Vice President of Imani Africa. Mr. Bento, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Also joining us is Godwin Ejudi Tamaklo. He is CEO of National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and a private legal practitioner, still the NDC Director of Legal, as far as I know. Or something has changed.
I've been arrested by Kuduka. So, good morning. This one is becoming law point too. The panel composition.
Oh my God.
The law point.
It's a legal matter.
No, the law point.
Yes,
but absolutely good. So good morning, and to my learned, my two learned seniors and a very learned junior. Are you done with pupillage?
Not yet. Okay, not yet.
Okay, that's fine. So good morning, and good morning to our cherished viewers. Yeah, and good morning to you.
Always polite. He would take your seniority to anything from you. That's a smart politician. Very polite.
No, but you know, the nature of our profession is said that whether you like it or not, you'll forever be a senior. And it's going to be with you till. And I remember our year group, because I am T, those who are even ahead of us were calling themselves seniors.
Yes.
Because it's a call.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
like a minute before you.
they were called a few minutes before us, but that's just by the by. So once again, good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. And since Kofi Bento is here, Council, just hold on to the point. You say you agree with the proposal in principle.
Yeah.
That after you serve, stay in the country for 1 year. Why is that? Why should we even be tinkering with that kind of idea?
Like many things that I just say, there's a lot of thinking that leads to that conclusion. So give me a bit of time, let me just explain. We have what we call the probity and accountability architecture. It's worked into our constitution and our laws, all right? So one thing you need to know is that state funds or public funds are not your money. Now, you don't, nobody forces you to go into public office. So immediately you opt to go to public office. You take steps, ask for votes, etc., and say that I want to manage your money for you. You owe it to us to give us every information about what you're doing with our money. And anytime we ask, you should tell us. Now, the opposite has tended to be true. Now, but because of that principle, there is a whole architecture. One, before you spend the money, there is executive authority. Okay, so starting from the president, whoever, you say, I want to do this or want to do that. In fact, I don't want to take too much time, but even from the election, okay, you give us what you're going to do, etc., we vote you into office. Now, the presidency and all those other things, executive power, have to approve on a certain, plan or budget, etc. Now, then you go in and then you spend it. Even when you are spending it, there is what we call the, when you start, okay, there is what is called the internal audit agency.
Yes.
All right. So after executive go through and approve the money, during when you are spending the money concurrently, the internal audit agency, there's a whole law on that. People don't know about them. Have to be doing the internal audit to make sure you are doing the right thing. Okay. When you have finished spending the money, the auditor general has to come and check. That's a post facto, probity thing. Whether you spend the money right, this and that, and if you didn't, they should surcharge and disallow it. All right. Now, people gamed all of that. Okay. Then we have the Public Accounts Committee, which is a post facto analysis. They look at everything. Okay. And then after the Public Accounts Committee, you have prosecution entities, OSP, IOCO, even Attorney General, etc., FIC, etc. So I want to say that it's not a new thing. We already have a probity and accountability architecture. Okay. But here's the thing. We have gamed all of them. We have neutralized all of them. They don't work.
They don't work?
They don't work. So consistently people get into office, they spend the money, they take it out and we don't know what happens. And how many people have gone to jail for corruption? So at a time, the World Bank forced us in Ghana, to pass the law on causing financial loss to the state. The reason was because they were using criminal laws, which requires a proof beyond reasonable doubt. Now, when you make an executive decision which leads to the loss of funds, which may even inure to your benefit, unless it can be proven that it is a crime, as in you had the mens rea to cheat the state for your personal benefit, and that actually happened, you will spend the money, you will do all those things, you will not be found guilty. So that's what the law on causing financial loss to the state is about. It is to say, we don't need to prove that you wanted to commit a crime. We need to know that you gamed this thing for your benefit. They will catch you. Only one person, I think, has been caught on that law. Now, Occupy Ghana causing financial loss to the state. Is it Malamisa also?
No, a lot.
Many.
A lot.
Many?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Ibrahim Adam, Kwame Petra,
Then I'm thinking about
Salome, all of them.
Let me take my time. I'm rushing. Okay,
yes,
so
because there's no
basically
time.
I'm saying, you see, there's a whole architecture to that. All right. Now, the point I made was this. Clearly, when somebody is in office, they have power. You cannot mess with them. They hide what they do. People are afraid of them. It's clear. So you will not find the real truth when they are in power. So a lot of times, it is when they leave power, when they get off the seat, and other people come, then you hear the corruption stories and all the wild things that we hear. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, we have also said that these people must declare their assets when you are coming in. As part of the asset declaration, we are simply trying to tell you that, look, it is our money, and we want to make sure that you are not misapplying it for yourself and for other things. As part of the asset declaration, the people who go and deal with our resources must be required to stay within the country for at least 12 months. When they are not on the seat, they say when the frog dies, you see his length. For other people to check what they've done within the space of 12 months, frankly speaking, is not enough time. But it is enough time to find out if something really terrible has gone on. And you must be in the jurisdiction, because clearly when you leave the jurisdiction, all kinds of complications arise. Now, it can be done very many ways. We can do it with the law. We can do it even with a simple executive order. In fact, the president can make it a requirement.
That what? All my appointees
Yes.
stay in the country after I leave office or after my tenure is over. Don't go anywhere. For at least 1 year.
Yes.
So that you can account for your stewardship.
Yes.
And whatever decisions you took while in office.
Yes. In fact, I would say he should add it to the code of conduct. You see, if you, Alfred, are president, you can say for everybody who wants a post in my cabinet, you will sign this undertaking that you will not leave till 12 months after you've gone. Okay. And in some companies, let me tell you what they do. When you are appointed, you actually sign a resignation letter. On appointment, you sign a resignation letter, which is kept.
I see. What's the effect of that?
The effect of it is that it's all these legal issues. Because then the boss or the owner of the company has your resignation letter. When they want to fire you, there are many ways of firing. Dismissal, termination, all those other things. Resignation is the cleanest, neatest. So some places, when you go, they'll let you sign a resignation letter, which they keep.
Which is very bad.
Okay? No, it is to put a hold on you. So whenever they want to fire you, they just, in fact, some politicians do it.
They don't have tenure. You really don't have
But that's
tenure.
the point. The point is, the president, you do know that all executive power is vested in the president.
Absolutely.
And everybody acts
Article
for and
58.
on behalf of the president. But some people get so strong, so powerful that sometimes the president can fire them. We've had ministers who were never reshuffled because they had something. Okay. So bottom line, it is within the president's power to require that his appointees will respect this. But it is also within the space of, what Parliament can do. Adding to the asset declaration. Asset declaration, when we did it, we said they shouldn't publish it. And all of us are saying it doesn't make sense. On top of that, let's say you will remain in the jurisdiction for 12 months. If you have to go out, let's say for medical reasons, for whatever, you just need permission to do that. And you give an undertaking that you would come back when you are required. It's like a bail arrangement. But for me, I'm saying, look, as somebody who has watched this space, okay, when the person is in power, it is almost impossible to deal with their infractions and other things. When they leave power, you have a better chance of knowing what they did. And if you left it to me, again, if you take Public Accounts Committee, you realize that the chairperson comes from the opposition side. Okay. The Auditor General's office must not be appointed by the president. The Auditor General, I think, must be advertised and appointed by Parliament. Okay, he should report to Parliament. Some of it is there, but it should be strengthened. And it should be the minority, the opposite side. Our court system is adversarial. There's a reason why. Our political systems too are adversarial, they're competitive. Okay. So if you have a situation where the Auditor General, even the Internal Audit Agency, you have the OSP also, appointed with a lot of influence from the other side, then you have a certain accountability mechanism which is effective. Because you don't get the president putting his people there, and then for 8 years, all kinds of things happen. And then, as we speak right now, they can abscond. If we did that, we'll be tightening the noose. And we will not be stopping anybody from doing their work. All we'll be doing is constricting the space for corruption. And me, I always say, if you don't think you can handle public office and manage other people's money with scrutiny, don't go into public office. So I really stand by it. We should. It doesn't make sense for us not to have something like that and allow people to just
say
leave.
that all the layers and laws, policies to fight corruption aren't really effective. The reason why we have to add this other layer of, stay in the country and account before you go.
There's been a declaration in the Supreme Court. When Occupy Ghana went to court, the law says that the Auditor General may surcharge or disallow. Now, when you read it all together, the may was turned into a shall. The reason is that given the total consequence or the circumstances under which you find yourself, the Supreme Court said something, I paraphrase them. They said, given the situation we find ourselves in as a country, where corruption is so rampant and it doesn't look like anything can be done about it, the Auditor General is duty bound to the effect that when he sees some of these things, that may there does not constitute a discretion for him to exercise whether he likes it or not, but it converts to a shall. They were trying to say that given the circumstances we find ourselves in, this thing must be tightened and not made totally discretional. It is suggesting to you that the nature of laws, okay, can harden or soften based on the circumstances. And when situations arise, you make laws to take care of them. It is clear to us that we have corruption. It is clear to us that it's not getting better. We did IOCO, first SFO, it wasn't working. We went to do IOCO. IOCO, I'm not sure what they are doing. Now we have OSP. Guess what? We are having issues with OSP. Attorney General has been there since forever. He's not been able to do the work. It's not anybody's fault per se. It's the structural problems. So we have to keep working at this. The richest subset of people in this society, or one of the richest subset of people in this society, are politicians. And I'm not begrudging them in any way. But there are people who don't work for 8 years, but they still live like Arabian kids. My point is, if we don't take care, we will signal the wrong thing to our youth, that the best way to make money is to go into politics. And how do they make money in politics? I personally believe that if you are in politics and you have to make decisions that inure to the benefit of a lot of people, you will benefit thereby. Without being corrupt, you can. All right?
Right.
But too many times, it is looking as if we are building a culture that is becoming more and more and more accepting of a certain corrupt subculture. And we need to keep working at it. I don't think it's too much. Look, if you ask Edwin, stay in Ghana for 1 year after your office, I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. Okay, so let's do it. And then some of these problems that my brother Marty and I have been fighting over, we will not have these problems because we'll be, you know, in a better situation to deal with them.
And that's why I bring in George Mrekuduka. He's a former appointee, and he's in the country. I mean, we're only having this conversation because, just like any progressive society, when incidents happen, you would want to respond in a certain way that improves on the legal system or the policies in place to address the evolving trends in society. So you have now a former finance minister who is out of the jurisdiction. There's so many ways and means and talk of trying to get him back to answer for his tenure is become an issue. So just like how you would have instances where when things happen in a country, you would have laws to respond to it. Will this be an effective measure because of this instance that has happened, that a particular appointee leaves the jurisdiction, is being wanted to come and answer for his tenure, decisions that were taken by him, and that's become a tussle. So let's put it in law. After you serve, George Mrekuduka, don't leave this country, at least for 1 year, so you can be available to answer for the decisions that you took with the taxpayers' money.
Alfred, let me say a very good morning to your viewers and cherished listeners, and also to my affable incoming president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Wherever he is, may God keep protecting him. It's important to kind of profess solution to our corruption situation in Ghana. And it's also critical that we find some sort of affection for how we can protect the integrity of this country and the coffers of this country. I like the emotions attached to the call by Kofi. And Kofi
is just the emotions you see? there has to be some
the
basis
morality
beyond.
aspect of it is equally also accepted. But we need to consider other aspects of the law in terms of human rights, abuse, and all kinds of restrictions. In the federal law of the United States of America, they call it USC 207. Those who have classified information are restricted actually from traveling out of jurisdiction after serving in government. That is established in US. In other jurisdictions, you will also equally have situations of that nature that you would need to kind of stay if you are perceived or charged for involving in certain illegal activities. And it pertains in Ghana already, that if you are charged, your passport is confiscated, instances where, situation may permit. But where it's kind of put in a blanket that don't go out after service, that is where my challenge is.
What's your challenge?
My challenge is that why are we not putting in measures to curb the corruption before the person even leaves office? Why are we waiting for him to leave office before this, kind of restriction is banked? Why can't we, in a way, implement the measures, the laws that we have constructively and attentively? Just invoke all the laws that we have. We have the YOCO, we have Attorney General, we have OSP, we have other responsible institutions that must be assisted to kind of, put measures in curbing the corruption. Why must we wait? That is my challenge. But I agree with him that if you have the zeal and the will to serve your country, you must equally stay in. But don't we also have mechanism to also extradite people who have been found to be corrupt in executing their mandate? Don't we have that? So we keep on mentioning Ofori-Atta. Have we charged him? And America is saying, charged. Bring the evidence.
He has been charged.
Yes, I know, but bring the evidence that he's done that. Like,
is the U.S. a court?
The Maslock woman, was she not charged in absentia?
No.
Tried. Was she not?
Yes.
She was. So why can't we go through that?
No, I think we shouldn't confuse two.
No. I mean, you allow me to make my point when I'm done. So we shouldn't create a scenario that it's not even possible for the person to be charged or tried in absentia. We shouldn't create that scenario. But measures that will be put in place to check corruption, I'm all for it. But I believe we need to really invoke the authorities, the laws, before the person's tenure ends. I agree that Attorney General, Auditor General, for example, must be independent. I agree to that. I agree that we need to have mechanism to also strengthen the Public Account Committee in Parliament. They must be well resourced. They must have kind of a chamber that research. They don't, because they privately depend on their individual research that they conduct. But an institution or kind of a segment must be established for them in terms of research to enhance their activities. I agree to that. So that is why I mentioned emotions and moral. Morally, I accept that. But what mechanism are we putting in place to check before the tenure ends?
I see.
Because, it's, good to kind of arrest any corruption intended activity before the call of stay in the country after your tenure. Otherwise, they will find ways and means even to kind of go into corruption and find a way of staying in the country. So I will go all out to support any architecture designed to arrest the situation before your tenure ends.
I see, but well, we have that, and it's not working effectively. That's why we've been having this conversation. In the
and we
first
can
place.
do
But
it. We shouldn't throw our hands in despair and say that it's not possible.
That research group is the Internal Audit Agency.
Yes.
People don't know about them because really they have not been effective. But imagine this: if the Internal Audit Agency is, or their head is appointed by the minority, all right, then you will have a chain where they actually have the information of what is happening. They will feed it to the minority on the Public Accounts Committee.
And I agree.
All right.
Let me strengthen this way. It's not just the head. The problem with the Internal Audit Agency, we've raised it here, is that the officers, they are embedded in the various institutions. And they depend on these heads for promotion, etc. So there is a bill. Actually, is it World Bank or IMF was helping. There's a draft.
To make
but
the
when this
officers more
government came,
independent,
like the previous government was dodging it, and since this government came, it doesn't appear it has come up either. So there are proposals to deal with the weaknesses. The internal auditor is looking to travel. It depends on the CEO to get a ticket to go to the US or UK. You think he will open his eyes? Yes, you scratch my back. Scratch your back. So those weaknesses are supposed to be addressed.
There's a holistic situation we need to deal with, and this is one of it. I always believe that the head sets a tone. So if we did that, then what he's talking about, there's no point in having an internal auditor who is subservient to the person they are investigating.
Absolutely.
But when he talked about getting a research, unit, that is the research unit. If even during the time of the boss, they can't do anything, they will keep the information. And if they were appointed, there will be a connection between they and the Public Accounts Committee. And like we said, Auditor General should be appointed also by the minority or influence. And then there's that whole pipe. And if governments change hands, let's do it. By the way, let me just add this.
But not the minority. We can't trust them. Let the people. We deserve. No, you are concentrating power in politicians. Let the people.
It's my point. Let me make the point. I beg you. See.
No. Your time is not exhausted yet. Because let me just say that Kofi Bento is actually the proponent of this whole matter of 1 year.
No, it's good. And it's in the context of the president launching
and Dr. Eboafo, good morning. He wrote a full article with that. But Adam Senano has joined us now. He is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption in Ghana, but also the chair of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption. That's at the continental level. So, Senano, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Perfect. Quickly, and I'll come to you. Let's Edochie Tamaklo on this. Have we exhausted, and this is where Mekodoka makes the point about the measures already in place to ensure that you're able to answer for your actions while in office. We don't have to wait till you're out, and then we have you stay in the country. In fact, there has to be a law to have you stay in the country for at least 1 year. We're only having this conversation because
Oforiatta is absconded.
But then again,
it's not true. That's not true.
He has not absconded.
Okay, Alfred. You see, just to put it in context, if we just run away, we won't solve problem. Listen. What we are discussing, like you said, I'm the proponent.
Yes.
What we are discussing does not solve the problem of Oforiatta. Listen, Sedina took permission and left. Oforiatta took permission and left. Now, if even all these things are there, but it is detected that there is persecution or the environment has been set against you and you can't get a fair trial, it will be defeated.
All right,
so let's be clear that we should not make that mistake. Let's deal with it without going to Oforiatta.
What do we mean by the environment is set? The very thing. Look, we've all lived in the US before. Tune into their thing. Here we are not even doing anything. Here, or the English people, tune in and see. It's the same thing. Human beings are the same. Sometimes we talk as if it's Ghana alone that we are even doing nothing when it comes to accountability. Tune into Sky News, GB News, tune into CNN, tune into the other Fox and the rest. It's all over. Human beings are the same. Everywhere, citizens are trying to hold government to account. So what we are doing in respect of Oforiatta, that's the same thing they do in the US. They even do it better, or let me say worse. You remember when Bondi
not be tried?
Okay. No,
sorry.
Can tried?
So the processes are here ongoing, but the Constitution says no. Listen, the Constitution says that he must be present. That's why we have laws on extradition. And that's how come if he refuses to come, we would use extradition laws to get him. Yes, the trial will be ongoing, and then we'll also be making efforts to bring him. We can't say that finish the trial before you now come and make efforts to extradite. I think this thing we're beating it enough.
Okay.
Now let's go on. So you're saying that,
but you agree in principle that you know there has to be another layer of sort of a regulation to restrict formal appointees.
Yes, I agree. And your question was that while the people are in power, what have we exhausted the laws and all the tools we can use to get accountability while they are in power? We've not exhausted. We've shown that, like Kofi said, I think I want to stay a bit on the Internal Audit Agency bill. So you see, what happened is that before the president went to do the SONA, the night before, I went on Facebook and I posted this, that two things. Mr. President, we want to hear about the Code of Conduct and the Internal Audit Agency bill. Well, in the SONA, he talked about the Declaration of Assets Law.
Yes.
But the Internal Audit Agency bill, no. You ask the experts on the field, and they've been pushing. As I said, it's either the World Bank or IMF, I'll verify, helped them to do a draft bill. But the previous government looked at it, and because they were stealing like there's no tomorrow, in Kennedy Agyapong's words, they didn't want to use it. They ducked. Just as they ducked in respect of the asset declaration law. So when this new government came, you know, it's lost momentum. So that is one of the key things that we can use, because like Kofi said, currently the internal auditors are largely ineffective because they themselves want to also be part of the action and they are embedded in the various agencies. You need to make them more independent, even private banks, etc. Now the auditors, they are making them external, even in private banks, so that the person who looks over making compliance, trying to make them external to the banks, so that he's not directly under the CEO, because naturally, you know, incentives. If he sees that his colleague is traveling, today he's in New York, the next day he's in London, he will abandon his things and also see how he can also travel, right? So let's see how we can bring the Internal Audit Agency bill back to the front burner and see how it can be passed.
Right.
And then the asset declaration law, as I mentioned, the president mentioned it in the SONA, Article 106, let's just read briefly. It says that no bill other than such a bill as referred to in paragraph A of Article 108 of this Constitution shall be introduced in Parliament unless B, it has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of its introduction in Parliament. So when the president stated in SONA that he had sent it to Parliament, I was like, but Mr. President, you have lawyers. The thing says, take it to Assembly Press. Assembly Press is next to Accra Poly. Let them publish it 14 days before it will be introduced in Parliament. That was February. The SONA was in February. This is June. June is almost gone. And we've been chasing around. We can't get the bill. Then it's beginning to sound like what Akufo-Addo did. You know, this same bill. And let's mention that the IMF looked at it and said that, you know, at a point they removed the requirement of publication that TV3 has spent a lot of resources organizing colloquium, public symposia on. That the publication, when an officer has declared his asset, there should be publication, like the PNDC days. You know, we brought Rawlins's asset declaration forms here, PV Obey, Mary Grant, all of them. Even today, or let's say Monday, if you go to Assembly Press, you can buy copies. So they removed those things, and the IMF said, no, without that provision, that is not a bill. I hope eventually they put them back. But the president said the thing has been gone to Parliament from February. How many months? About 4 months on. We can't even find a bill. You see, so that is one of the things that will help change the game, right? So we are putting all the rules together. Then you need a strong media, a very strong media. So it's not one proposal alone. If you don't have strong media, you won't be able to do all these things, because it's a media that would be able to, you know, shine light on these things. You are the fourth estate, you see, of the realm. Fourth estate, if you are not in all of this, will not be able to get a lot of traction. So we should be looking at how to strengthen the media, right? Making sure that government protects media more. You see how soldiers have brutalized media, police have brutalized media. Oh, my good friend Latif Idris, they cracked his skull. How many years now? The guy almost died, but for some efforts, and then he was taken to the US. Today he's in debt. over $50,000 because he needs more medical attention. There's no money. So the man is like, unless it's God, but if you are analyzing in terms of human nature, you say he's on his way to death. A media guy goes to report at the police headquarters, he gets his skull, police beat him, crack his skull, then he's almost dying. Other examples, some have already died. Justice Ajato, when MPP was in opposition and they went to do, is it let my vote count? Kofi, were you in that in Gabi and Co? No, and then that time, you see, NDC was in power. They hit the guy, his eye. Eventually, he died. Other things. So we need more protection for the media. So as for the laws, there are many. And what we are doing now, we are reinforcing our ethos that as a nation, citizens are not sitting down quiet. We're trying to help move the corruption fight forward. So it's not just one bullet point or one legislation that can solve all. No, there are many. I don't think time will allow me to go to the other points.
Yes,
so
I was just zeroing in on this particular proposal of stay in the country at least for 1 year after your service. Answer for your stewardship before, if there's any grant of a permission for you to travel, that will be done. And you laid the blame squarely at the doorstep of the OSP. You say
absolutely.
Something could have been done to prevent, for instance, Kenofriata from traveling out of the jurisdiction. Your quick one on this.
Okay, so once again, good morning. This is a very interesting conversation. But like I always want to find out, and my two learned seniors here, can you legislate against idiocy?
No. But you can try.
No.
You can try.
Okay. Because you see, the reason why I asked this first issue or question is that, you see, ultimately what you are faced with is a personal conviction. You see, there are things that at the level of the individual he must do. You see, you cannot wear white to parliament, wear white to church, quote several scriptures, become the principal, holder of the public purse, right? And few days to leave in office, your own cousin, the president, says, my chief of staff had given you permission to travel abroad. Now your lawyers come and tell us that May that year, you'll be back from your medical thing. And now your lawyers are celebrating the grant of your green card. And you say we should legislate. What are we legislating? People just don't have conscience. Simple. At the bottom of this conversation is that people simply don't have conscience. People simply feel that this country can be used for whatever it is they want. And they are above accountability. Look, that thing had been created in the minds of some people that we are above the laws of this country. Bottom line. Oh, yes. Why? The people around President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo strongly believe that they are above the laws of this country. If not, we shouldn't be having this conversation, respectfully. Why are we trying to romanticize this issue? Why? In one breath, my learned senior, Kofi, says, Ken, don't come back. In another breath, he said, no, legislate against others from. I mean, how can you speak from the two sides of your mouth?
You see, he's inviting me in.
Yes, I will.
Because I haven't said that.
But at the right time, I will come back.
Haven't.
No, I beg you. No, but you have not on this platform, but on different platforms.
On different platforms.
Please hold
If you
on.
don't understand what I've said,
Senior,
it's your
hold
problem.
on.
So that you
On different platforms, you have made it categorical. In fact, you have suggested to him that he shouldn't. And even today, you said conditions are not. What conditions? Today in America, where Kenofriata is, the Attorney General of New York, who prosecuted President Trump, for the fraud by the Trump organization, is today being prosecuted under President Trump. She calls it persecution.
Yeah.
The courts have dismissed the indictment. The president says he will come back.
Yes.
That's mighty America at the condition. Letitia James or whatever she's called, she must be running.
Yeah.
John Bolton, the former national security advisor to President Trump,
Yes.
who fell out with him, had just pleaded guilty by charges brought under by President Trump's Attorney General because, as it were, he disclosed confidential information at that barest minimum. James Comey,
Excellent.
the former FBI boss,
Yeah.
only wrote on Instagram or something,
Yes.
8640
Yes.
or some words.
Yeah.
According to President Trump, that was an invitation for him to be killed
Yes.
because he fell out with Trump.
Yeah.
A Republican former FBI boss is today being prosecuted by President Trump. Mighty America. What conditions are we talking about? You just don't have conscience.
Yeah.
You just came, abuse this country's resources, and decide that let's run away because we are above the law. No conscience. And you sit on this platform to pontificate legislation. And that is why I preface my conversation by asking whether you can legislate against idiocy. You can't. It's not every problem you can solve with legislation. You see, immediately we have this mindset that every Ghanaian problem must come with legislation. We'll come up with laws that will turn ineffective. Look, I have decided to do some research this morning. And in the research I was doing, I realized something unique. Very interesting conversation. Look, 1952, J.B. Dankwa wrote to Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. 1952. How many years ago? 52.
So over 70 years.
Good.
No, it's not 70. Okay.
Yeah, it's over 70.
Yeah.
J.B. Dankwa wrote to Nkrumah complaining about cocoa crutches. The scale for weighing cocoa. They have compromised it. They have done all. 2, bezels of schools. What were they doing?
Stealing.
Compromising purchasing, procurement infractions. J.B. Dankwa direct letters from 1952-57 that he's written to Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah complaining about corruption within the public sector. Fast forward. 1993, the PNDC having transitioned into democratic rule. You know what they did? They said, oh, the laws were not strong enough. So they needed to amend Section 179. You know, initially Section 179 stand alone.
Yeah.
So now they introduced 179A with the introduction of causing financial loss to the state. Curiously, the people who introduced that piece of legislation, eventually the same people were the people who were caught up by rates. Yes. From 1992 to date, the people who brought Section 179A were the people who have been caught by rates. I mean, today you go on shows and an MPP communicator will tell you that, you people, you say we are corrupt, but none of our appointees have ever been convicted for corruption, particularly under Section 179A. Look, go and read Justice Dixon Kwame Afre's judgment in the quality grain decision. The charges were formulated, I think, by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as Attorney General. Okay. Now, when the conversation started, the MPP media then, and remember at that time, was only few media men. So they could meet, decide that this week, this is what we'll discuss, and nothing will happen. I understand that's how the word coffee shop came about. Yes. So they discussed the agenda. Today, citizen journalism, you can't set any agenda. People have their own agenda. Now, guess what happened? In Justice Afre's judgment, he spent about 2 pages of the initial, judgment, trying to convince himself that the people he was about to convict, he was not convicting them for stealing or corruption. Because if you see, he himself said, having reviewed over 3,000 pages of documents, evidence, and what have you, records, he has come to the conclusion that he needs to disabuse the mind of the public. That to the mind of the public, those individuals who are being prosecuted for corruption and stealing, he wants to let Ghanaians know that that is not the case. And that this is a novel penal law called causing financial loss to the state. And these are the ingredients. And in fact, if you look at the AFRE formulation on causing financial loss to the state, it does not even require proof of what you call a terrible mind. All that is required is proof that the loss was willful. And what constituted willfulness was never given, in terms of, you see, because the idea is that penal legislation usually must be construed strictly. It never happened. Okay. So let's get that point.
You disagree with that proposal?
No, this is, let me make this point, I beg you. You see, recently, my learned senior, Kofi, was lawyer for Imani when they went to court under the MPP, I think the tail end of the MPP government, challenging the removal of the heads of security agencies. And one of the arguments put forward by Malene Senior had to do with the fact that, listen, you can't remove persons of that nature unless there's a basis for just cause, right? Now, if you read the reasoning of my Lord Justice Gawu with the concurring opinion by Justice Akabuafo, they claim, they made a point very clear that this just cause provision is restricted to certain category of officers. And then heads of security agencies do not form that Article 191 category of officers. And so an attempt to stretch that provision to enter into the security heads will be problematic. The reason why I'm bringing this is that, you see, my senior makes the point of situations where you can actually even prepare a resignation.
Oh, that was just an example.
Yeah, no, but I'm just providing the legal proof. It would be difficult in our current constitutional arrangement to do that. Okay. Because prima facie it will be declared unconstitutional. Always remember that these are contracts that are not contracts of servitude. Yeah. And so you cannot even ban people. Look, the Ghana Law School used to have a situation where the guys, the law student writing entrance exam, they'll be made to do undertaking that you cannot challenge. Yes. Her ladyship, Gifty Ajay Ado. Yes, exactly. Yes. She struck it, tore it into pieces. Yes. So such pieces of legislation always come with that problem. Then the question of judicial activism. What judges have been trying to do over the period to help also with this conversation on corruption and others. Look, I remember Mabe and Johnson. When Mabe and Johnson happened, Shraj decided to probe government official, former government official. One of the private persons raised a legal challenge to Shraj jurisdiction and said, look, the jurisdiction of Shraj is limited to public officials. And to the extent that he is a private individual, Shraj jurisdiction does not extend to him. Go and read the brilliant reasoning of her ladyship, Georgina Wood. She said, look, if the very ethos of the 1992 Constitution is founded on probity, accountability, and transparency, and social justice, an attempt to insulate a private individual from the ambit of Shraj jurisdiction would defeat the very purpose of the Constitution. Because then public officials will connive with private people. And immediately there's an issue. The private person will say, no, I'm not part of Shraj jurisdiction, only the public people. Yeah. So brilliantly, the court has intervened. Again, Occupy Ghana. Yeah. Even when there was a may, the court construed that may to be sharp for the purposes of allowing disallowance and surcharge. But you see, my brother here, he brought one of the proponents of surcharge and disallowance when they went to court. Ask him. 8 solid years. Immediately, Domelevo was removed. Ask him. if he ever traced one surcharge or disallowance by the Auditor General.
That's the problem. And I've complained about it.
Please, Senior, calm down.
No, I'm answering you.
No, I am giving you why legislation doesn't solve this problem if the leadership does not demonstrate that will. When civil society groups challenge the removal of Mr. Domelevo, the Attorney General at that time said what the president did was lawful. The Supreme Court eventually disagreed with him and said, and the Supreme Court said, look, we disagree. So I strongly believe that, look, we can have a way around it. What is required is leadership. President Mahama that I know, the President Mahama that I know, he will not even allow you the opportunity to say you are running away.
Okay.
No. Because you see, let us not bury our heads with respect in the sand and pretend that this thing was not well orchestrated. It was planned, thought through, executed to perfection. Everything that is happening today, the MPP as a political group realizing that Ken Ofori-Atta was an integral part. A man who could not be removed by 94 MP. Were you among the MPs who signed Miracle?
You finish.
No, I'm just by way of public information.
Once it's mentioned me, I think I can come.
Yeah, you can.
I'm surprised.
Please, you are coming. I am asking. I just wanted to find out whether he's among the 94 MPs who wanted.
Even if he was not,
even
if he was not, eventually Chairman Sabosu said all of them.
Very well.
All of them.
So the point I'm making with that scenario is that you see, when you have a powerful co-president like Ken Ofori-Atta, there is no way the long arms of accountability. Look, let us not mistake this. Ken is the only finance minister to have run away from accountability since 1992. Richard Kampepra stood and he was here throughout.
I mean, just to push for.
Victor Solomon was in this country throughout.
Forgetting Sedi
Setepe was. What is the issue? You are so fascinated about. At least Sedi was in court. She went through a trial, sought permission from the court and travel.
Why did you bring her and keep?
Thank you very much.
Keep her at home.
Let Ken come. Let her have a house arrest. Why can't Ken come?
Yes, if he comes, I'll support house arrest. If Ken comes, I'll be one of the.
Let her have a house arrest. Can you on this platform say Ken should come?
Let him come. We'll support house arrest.
No.
Just change the thing to Ken. We did not have selective justice.
Where there's selective.
Now, selectiveness is where you come into government, you use nolle prosequa to exonerate people, and you come and sit here and talk about conscience.
Okay.
Do you have that conscience?
Mesano,
are you telling me you have that conscience?
On this.
Okay, thank you. Let me make some preliminary comments before I get into the substantive question. So Kofi and I, we are part of a Lego Hall fraternity. Former Lego Hall presidents. And you know, that's one point of commonality. But in general, I have been shocked and scandalized by our former minister's position.
Which of the former ministers are you talking about?
Ken's position of not coming back. And I'm raising that because when earlier on, Kofi advised him that don't come back.
Yes.
I thought that was disappointing.
Okay, so my brother, let me correct you. I said no serious lawyer will advise Ken Ofori-Atta.
And you are a serious lawyer.
Under this circumstance to come back. Before I said that a year before the U.S. court made a statement.
But you've already
you have already
convicted him.
Go ahead.
And you are the closest to the president.
Oh, please.
And if he sentence, you have already
The judges are independent minded.
Specifically mentioned Mr. Bento. He allowed him.
You are allowed.
Yeah, which is fine. Now, and that's purely from, I mean, whether it's an issue of faith, knowing Ken myself, knowing Kofi myself, whether it's an issue of morals or ethics, I think, in my mind, this should not have happened. Now, Edwige talks about conscience. And I would like to raise that a bit and say, look, the reason why we are currently considering a national ethics and anti-corruption action plan is because we are gradually getting to the point where we realize the issue of conscience as a nation is being lost, where many individuals and parties don't value the fact that there are certain things that society expects of all of us.
True.
You cannot accept leadership in this nation or in any other space and not be willing to be accountable.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to talk a lot more about that, even looking at the next generation. So we don't have this situation where we are now saying more legislation. I mean, there are places where the person would immediately resign and say, I'm submitting myself to the rigors of the law. And we should not have a situation where we are, some of us were at the forefront of saying, allow the man to go and seek medical attention because we assume he will come back. Yes. And here he's saying that he cannot accept, he does not believe. What are we talking about? Now, let me come to a substantive question. Yes, I agree that the idea, as Kofi has proposed, of considering a 1-year kind of moratorium for travel would add to the basket of things we have. But by itself, it will not produce the result we are looking for. And let me just raise a number of other issues. It seems to me, as we've been discussing, that we have a number of things that we need to tie up very strongly, which we have discussed this morning. Mm-hmm. There's the internal audit issue, where the independence, a proper independence of internal auditors across board in the nation is required such that they can play their role. Because as long as it's tied to the resources of the institution in which they are working, they are likely to keep quiet. Again, there's the issue of, and I always said when oral came, that I like oral. Let's institutionalize it. At the end of every government's tenure, let's have a situation where we open up and say, any citizen who has information that is worth considering, because the internal audits may not have captured everything. There may be some additional information. Let's harvest that as well. I think that is important. I think there's the issue of the non-fit for purpose asset declaration. Unless we change that regime and make it something that is public. So somebody in Kukrintumi who realizes that you've not declared your land and I know that you have land there can raise that attention. Our Nigerian brothers have done it. Why can't we do that? There's the issue of the COPO, Conduct of Public Officers Bill, which we need that law in place. That, for me, is the standard. Because it is not in place, there's a lot of difficulty understanding how do you actually prosecute and sanction a public officer. We seem to be going around in circles. It's good the president has something, but that doesn't have legal value.
Senator, with respect, I think just recently he announced that the state asset protection law is also coming. Yeah. Because you see, you need to also single out state property and state asset. Article 40, that's Article 40 of the Constitution enjoins all of us as citizens, 41, enjoins all of us as citizens to ensure the protection and prevent the misuse of public. But I think this one is a targeted legislation that President Mahama wants to come with penal consequences with it, targeted at protection of public property or assets. Because you see, at the bottom, all of us don't.
We have some scratchy laws. Let's just say there is already law on protection of public land. 1979, there is an AFRCD.
It's problematic.
But what
even the consequences compared to today is
so we need. But we want the asset declaration law first.
No, I mean the two can run together.
So I'm just pointing out we have, for example, and look, unexplained wealth. We need a proper unexplained wealth law with reverse burden of proof to make it easier for these cases to be run. We need specialized anti-corruption courts. I have seen in other jurisdictions where within 6 months, they are sitting daily, they clear it. So the penal understanding of what will happen to you if you dare decide that you're going to get corrupt, you see it within 6 months. Everybody can see the case has ended. So there are things we need to do, including better resourcing of anti-corruption agencies in general. In addition to talking about the 1 year, because if we do these things, then within the tenure of that government, you will find that anti-corruption agencies can work faster. Otherwise, you can put the 1 year, and beyond the 1 year, there will be cases that we've not yet gotten to the point where we can charge the people, and therefore what do? They move out of jurisdiction, and then we have a problem. So yes, I think Kofi has value when he says, let's add this to the basket of things we have. But I think we need to strengthen what exists. We need to go beyond that. We need unexplained wealth law with reverse burden of proof and think through what we need to pull together. Let's say a comprehensive law that pulls these pieces together in a way that allows us to get better results than we have seen so far. And that would be my take on it.
So yes, there should be consideration.
It has been suggested. It has been suggested that if we list state companies and people have interest in it,
by itself, it should not be a panacea.
You were even here before.
It's not going to be a panacea
by itself.
In itself,
by itself, it will not be a panacea. You need all these other things completely dealt with in a more comprehensive way. Otherwise, we'll still be struggling, and then we'll come back and say we don't seem to be doing much in the fight against corruption.
To ensure it doesn't just come up to add to all the many legislations we have already in place to fight corruption. And I'll give you the. I'm rounding up on this.
I think he will, in a way, wrap up because that's his proposal.
Yes,
so I'm just
quickly.
only reiterating the point of conscience that ADG mentioned.
You said that earlier.
If we're talking of conscience, that we must not be selective in terms of our delivery. What did we do? What have we painted so far to the people of this country? We come in, people we think must go through the rigors of the law. We use the authority of the Attorney General to just invoke nolle prosequa.
But you made that point
on people who served in very critical positions, like Atufosin, Richard Dakwa, like Stephen Okuni,
there was no nolle prosequa. I am even surprised. I'm surprised that today you have the courage to even talk about Atufosin.
No, I'm coming. Let me make my point.
The distasteful conduct of your Attorney General. You should talk about
you come and use nolle prosequa to exonerate them.
You are not sure.
Two, you Sedina. When was she?
That's the conscience.
When was she brought into the country? And where was she? Why was she just sent to Nsawam just this Thursday?
Ken come.
And you were talking of
let Ken have that courage to come.
And do house arrest.
Let him come.
Hold on.
I mean, so
I'll be among his lawyers to apply for bail for him. Let him come. You let Ken come.
With this posture,
you can't.
With this posture, and the international community,
you are afraid you expose your government.
The optics, in a way, indicate that you want to persecute him.
How?
With this posture.
With this posture. When I'm offering to apply for bail for him, I'm offering to apply for bail for him.
Filing what bail?
If you can, there are charges against him. His lawyers to apply for bail.
So if we are talking of conscience, then we need to love our country, to in a way exhibit that kind of willingness and commitment toward protecting the purse of this country, rather than protecting our individual interests, as far as our party is concerned.
No. You should
if it is not an NDC,
in a public
if it's not an NDC, then
the courage alone is fascinating.
Right, I see.
I mean, the courage to talk about public purse is fascinating.
Why?
Yes. Okay, one sentence.
The holder of the public purse is running away from justice.
You see how he's heckling? I allowed you to make your point.
When President Kufuor was exiting, I am aware that he caused the discontinuance of the case against what Kunedu and his
don't even dignify him. He's a lawyer. He knows nolle prosequa is permissible by law.
You see?
That's
because
this is the first
so you come into government and you just apply
so it means that
and you
Kufuor was using the state just to persecute Kunedu and
you have the will to
that's what Kufuor was doing.
You have made your point.
That's what Kufuor was doing.
You have made your point.
Selective justice.
Thank you. Mr. Mento, let's round up on this quickly.
See, look, from my days of this president, which you talk about 1991, okay, before Rollins.
Kofi Bento.
Okay, look, going down the line, Occupy Ghana, what? Just Google my name against Ejapa. This is Ken Ofori-Atta's Ejapa, what they proposed. Ask who were the leaders against that fight. I'm talking about what we have done or I have done with others on, anti-corruption. Okay?
It's even a good proposal.
Please. Now, when we talk about these broad things, look, you'd never stop building a nation. You keep going. So as we move, the things we need to do, we add to them. It is unfair and it is defeatist to make it about Ken Ofori-Atta. But the fact about Ken Ofori-Atta is that, one, the system has created a situation that has inured to his benefit. And I said that a year before it happened. Okay, when I told you, Martin is my brother, please. When we argued and finished, later he found out, and then you mounted an attack against the OSP.
Yeah, first I didn't know he was deceiving us. I didn't know.
So look, sometimes you can listen to what I say and not understand it. I have said, and I said it long before, that the way this thing was going was wrong and was going to inure to Ken's benefit. 2, I said that given the atmosphere that was being created, no serious lawyer would advise Ken to come back. 3, I said that if you have a situation where people are demonstrating against him, his name is being mentioned and demonized, when he has not been charged, you will create a situation where the U.S., it will raise a platform for him to seek asylum. It has happened, it has been granted. The U.S. courts have actually said something.
Not asylum, he got no, green card.
No, he will claim asylum.
No, once he has
you are not listening to me. I said he will claim it. The U.S. government has not given him asylum, but they have strengthened his position. The point I'm making is this is not about Ken. But if you want to talk about Ken, okay, the mistakes within this system is what has given rise to the situation where we are in. Now, back to the
maybe we'll name the legislation Ken Ofori-Atta.
Exactly.
Again, you are making a mistake.
It's very important.
Let me finish my point.
As if you're on a political platform.
Please.
Please. As if you're on a political platform. Why do you do this to Ken?
Excuse
Why
me.
do you do this to
Gentlemen.
Ken? I mean, let's legally present our views. Rather than focusing, why not?
You have made your point.
Style of advocacy. A style of persuasion.
Thank you very much.
The government of this is that we need to improve the accountability systems, which the politicians find a way to game. We have talked about the internal audit agency. We need to do something about it.
Right.
I still stand by my proposal that it will be useful as part of asset declaration, which must be published, okay, require either through law or through the president requiring his ministers to do that as a condition, okay, that they will remain within the jurisdiction for at least a year when they are out of office, so that new people who come can look at what they've done and then we can decide whether we should be prosecuting them or not. I think it is a step in the right direction. So far, I think everybody agrees with me. The only problem is that they think it's about...
Okay, so this is just the beginning. As I indicated to you, it's a conversation that is meant to bring a certain level of improvement or an additional layer of the demand for accountability. How that will be done, Eduji Tamaklo has pointed to the position of leadership, so that you can even have this legislation and still, if the leader is not committed to getting his people to account, it will not work.
It will not.
Also, there's that bit of the legislation itself bringing some level of commitment or tying the specific leader in place to ensure that his people or the people who he appoints stay in the country and account for their decisions. Thank you, gentlemen. That leads us to the next issue this week.
But Alfred, just 30 seconds. No, just 30 seconds. Because of this, just 30 seconds. Because of this legislation, if it is a case that, for instance, I resign 2 years to the end of my tenure and now travel, how would that piece of legislation stop me from traveling?
You resign
or
1 year,
it is the case that once you take an appointment, you can't travel?
No.
If it comes, so
it's easy. Okay. If you resign, you have 1 year. So somebody else goes to check what you've done. That's all.
I see. Thank you. Now, but there are various aspects of this conversation we can have. This is just the beginning.
Overzealous legislations.
This week, we got this notice from the Deputy Attorney General regarding... Thank you.
Yes.
Regarding the ruling of the ECOWAS court. This is it. Quickly. And Justice Shemsai put this out earlier in the week, that the ECOWAS Community Court has dismissed all of the 7 claims which the former Chief Justice, Lady Chief Justice Gertrude Araba-Essabato-Kono brought against the Republic in respect of her ladyship's claim of $10 million damages. The court held that, quote, in light of the court's conclusions that Ghana has not violated any of the applicants' rights under the Africa Charter as alleged, the court makes no decision on reparations. And this is the proceedings as we monitored. 1. And specific to Justice Essabato-Kono's case per the Africa Charter on Human Rights. The reason why there was a demand for the $10 million damage. 1, that suspension and removal from office were arbitrary and in violation of her right to a fair hearing and due process. A specific reference was made to Article 7 of the Africa Charter. B, the inquiry committee was illegally constituted and affected by bias. That's the second claim. The third, that she was denied access to a judicially reasoned opinion of the prima facie determination and the inquiry committee report in violation of her right to information. That is Article 9. D, the process violated her right to dignity and protection from arbitrary treatment. E, the removal violated her right to work. F, the conduct of the respondent breached the principle of less penance. G, compensation for $10 million for moral and reputational damage. And this was the determination of the ECOWAS Court. Government of Ghana via committee fulfilled its obligations of fair hearing, number one. Government of Ghana did not violate applicants' rights to be heard under Article 7 of the Africa Charter. Prima facie determination did not violate fair hearing principle. It is a filtering mechanism. So, this grounds without merit, only courts in Ghana that have jurisdiction over procedural matters of quasi-judicial bodies, and the ECOWAS Court on the matter of the competence and impartiality of Article 146 Committee, they declined to review the merit of the committee's findings. They said they don't have jurisdiction over that particular matter. Suspension from office by president did not violate the applicant's right to work. That's the ECOWAS Court's verdict. The applicant was not unfairly and arbitrarily removed from office as Chief Justice of Ghana. Decision to focus on single petition for her removal was not irregular. And they also say, court rejected arguments that bodily search, failure to have family present during hearing, and choice of venue were a violation of her right to dignity. And then also the court held that bodily search was reasonable and proportionate. And finally, the applicant did not make an official request for committee report. Hence, the court does not find her rights violated. Start off with you, Mr. Anu, on this, quickly.
Well, I'll be honest with you. This is one of the national level incidents that I always had some kind of disquiet about. Throughout, I kept quiet because I wasn't clear in my mind whether I was sufficiently apprised of facts to draw a conclusion. And I think I was also worried about the trajectory. We had started earlier with removal of electoral commissioners. We had escalated to chief justices, and I was wondering what next. I think that this, for me, was a very unfortunate milestone in the history of our nation. I think that there are lessons to be learned that must be learned well. My brother Samson Ladianyini gave me some, legal understanding of the background that made me think differently about the scenario. I think it's good that she's exploring all the opportunities of venues. It's good to see the feedback. It probably gives us more confidence in what happened internally. I think that at the end of the day, what bothers me is I was wondering whether if she ended up with nothing at all, were we really fair to her? So those would be my comments. I think that I'll leave it to the lawyers who probably are better versed in these matters. But personally, it's one of those times in the history of this nation that I felt a lot of disquiet. I was not quite sure whether this is the kind of thing that should have happened. I don't know whether in selecting people for these offices and in protecting and ensuring that the institutional systems work to ensure that things work out. There are things that we could do as a result of this experience to ensure that we don't go through this cycle again. And I don't want to see another situation where we have chief justices having to be removed or any other such high officials. Whatever needs to be done to strengthen their alignment with administrative processes, with what is required, I think it is necessary. we look at that.
Well, you talked about she exploring all the other avenues. There are about 4 other cases in respect of her removal, which is still active at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has decided to consolidate all 4. July 2, which is just some few days ahead. Next week, Thursday.
Okay.
There's going to be a
blockbuster.
So this is the panel that would sit on that consolidated case of 7.
So see, I agree with my brother here. It's worrying, and for some people, it's even now exhausting. Okay, but we have set ourselves.
Hounded.
No, I didn't say hounded.
No. He didn't use the word.
You are using hounded.
He didn't use the word. He said he didn't want to see another chief justice more or less treated this way. Okay, but the point I'm making, and I use the word hounded.
Oh,
I use the word hounded. Okay, and I go to what Justice Sophia Akuffo said, and I respect her so much for standing up.
What did she say?
That this is not something upon which you take out a chief justice.
Oh.
Okay, so please, when you make that point, I ask myself, is that not where we are going? Who told you that this is not going to continue? And I've made the point and I insist, because it's worrying that politicians made these statements ahead to the effect that they don't like this chief justice.
Oh,
to the effect that, can I please finish my point?
Hold on.
To the effect that when they get into office, they will do what they can to remove him, and then somehow it happens.
Where was that?
Can I make my point? When you get to your time, make your point.
Please. You are referencing statements that were made.
Statements that were made by politicians.
Regarding the former Chief Justice.
Regarding the former Chief Justice.
What specific statements were
statements to the effect that they were not happy with her. All kinds of names were given to that panel, whatever it is. And statements were made to the effect that when they get into office, they will use whatever power they have to have her dealt with.
Who said that?
Please, those videos are there. Let me continue with the point I'm making. I am saying that you have a situation where when this becomes a trend, then the problem he thinks is going to happen is going to happen. Then gradually we are making state institutions more and more political. There was a time when somebody went to court and said, look, it's not every position in this country that is political. So when a president comes, it does not mean everybody must retire or resign. All right? And it was upheld that there are political positions and then there are non-political positions. Okay? As we keep going, whether by law or by conduct, we can end up in a situation where people will make these statements, and then when they come into office, somehow it happens. Whether it was a proper judicial process or people felt pressured or whatever it is, that's another matter. But then somehow it happens. Then you have the situation that Edem is complaining about or is worried about that. Then we'll convert everything to a political position. Justice Tokono is within the law. She is exhausting legal processes. Do not be exhausted for her. What she's doing is going down, and it will inform everybody for going forward. She even talked about searches and all those other things. Trust me, the next time similar things happen, this will be the reference point. So she is putting herself on the line, okay, and she's exploring the law to its farthest extent. It is good for us as a country. The rest of us, what we must worry about is this going to continue? And what do we do to make sure it doesn't continue? And what are the things that lead to some of these things? And how are we going to make sure that we have a judiciary we can trust? We have a judiciary whose word will be final. We have a judiciary who we believe that, barring normal mistakes, will always rule in terms of the law, and not because they are looking over their shoulder, and not because some politician has said something and they don't feel a certain compulsion to deliver the promises that politicians have made. I don't say that's what is going on. Me, I'm a lawyer. And I've said over and over and over and over again, our judges are very, very upright. I have lost cases and I've agreed with them. There are cases I lose, I don't agree with them. The last one, for instance, they reasoned, the last one which you talked about, they reasoned that even though the police service, for instance, is, I'm giving an example, is under the public services. Yeah. They reasoned that they should be exempted because of the sensitivity of their position. Listen carefully, I disagree. Because the law says they are public services. We all want the police to be independent. So we went to court and said, this is what the law says. And so we want you to confirm that the law protects these people. They come and effectively interpret the law against what is written and said, no, for certain reasons, we think this and this position should go. My disagreement is that we have essentially made the IGP a political post. Okay, now when you add that to other things which have not been said in law, but then like Adam is saying, hey, if a politician expresses displeasure for a certain chief justice, and then somehow when they come into power, the chief justice is handed out of power to the point where other chief justices disagree, and now there's been a resignation, etc. Where are we going? Look, our judiciary is the last bulwark. Across history, it has been shown that when you give people power, they tend to abuse it, except you check them. The check comes from these gallant men in wigs, gallant men and women in wigs. So I worry if anything happens to connect them to the political cycle. And I hope Justice Tokono's experience will really give us so much information and reflection, okay, and force us not to continue in this trajectory where politicians are coming in with their judges and leaving with their judges. I'll leave it here.
Well, Martin, people bring you in on this, and this was the position of the ECOWAS Court, and I ran through it because there was a private conversation that we had, and then at some point, sometime within the week, you espoused your position on it. But this is at the time I hadn't seen the ruling and aspects of it, so I could not speak to what you were asking. But clearly stated here. Is the position of the court regarding the number of the reliefs that she was seeking, including the said payment, that this committee that was established actually fulfilled the obligations of a fair hearing. That's number one. And the two, that the government of Ghana did not violate applicants' rights to be heard under Article 7, because she went under the Africa Charter. Then this matter of the prima facie, which you had mentioned some time ago, the determination did not violate fair hearing principle. It says a filtering mechanism. The grounds without merit says only courts in Ghana that have jurisdiction over the procedural matters of question judicial bodies can. And they declined to review the merit of the committee's findings. Also, the suspension from the office did not violate the applicant's right to work. But this one, the matter of the bodily search, the court rejected that argument of the bodily search. The failure to have family present during hearing and the choice of venue were a violation of her right to dignity. You say that description of the process as being hounded out. You disagree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You see, when you say hounded out, it doesn't represent the facts at all. It's not a good rendition. Yes, I appreciate that. As lawyers, we can, and that's the art of persuasion, we use different words and come from different perspectives. But cut to the chase, what we are confronted with is a case of a Chief Justice who spent over 300,000 Ghana cedis illegally. You don't call that handing out. That actually is an insult to millions of our citizens who don't earn even 100,000 Ghana cedis the whole year. That's an insult. Evans, you earn 100,000 Ghana cedis a year. What is it? Winifred, you earn 100,000 the whole year. It's an insult to millions of citizens. Let's stop this. You see, you can advocate for her. You see, I've been supporting her that as for her right to get the prima facie ruling and the right to be accompanied by at least 2 people, I will always defend it. But you don't go and say somebody who has spent over 300,000 illegally. You trivialize the issue. And you mentioned Sophia Kufu. But we made it very clear to my dearest Sophia Kufu that, yes, we support her. I never come here without mentioning her name, at least in the past 1 year. Yeah, a little over 1 year, we've been extolling her virtues. But when this matter came, we pointed out to her that, oh, dear Sophia Kufu, this one, dear, we part ways. And you see there, I can understand why she thinks it's not serious. While she was in office, she also did the same thing.
What do you mean by she did the same thing?
Oh, that thing was there.
What thing are you talking about?
I'm talking about this travel with a relation. Sophia Kufu did it. Eniyebua did it. The audit report asked Eniyeboa's wife to refund some money. It's a public document.
There's specific documentation
that audit report
regarding
yes,
this particular
because this matter,
issue
the more you trivialize it, then the more we must state the facts very clearly. Because when you do that, then you are insulting those of us who are trying to hold people accountable. That's an insult. Check the audit report. Eni Yeboah's wife was asked to refund money. That's in breach.
So why wasn't she asked to refund money?
Who?
So your own Sopha
Eni Yeboah had left office. So why were you
your
going
own
to do?
Sopha Akuffo has made the point. You can't respect somebody in the day and disrespect them in the night.
It's
The same principle.
Disrespect, disagreement.
Well, the point is,
please.
Kofi, your
no, it's the same point is making. When you welcome me, consistency is key.
Which inconsistency?
She said this was normal.
How can you just...
The audit report in the case of Justice Tekono
This one,
exonerated
the propaganda is high.
and please, no. We've gone through this. And just like you're saying, when you have these infractions, a refund is necessary. And your beloved Sopha Akuffo, who I also respect, says that it does not rise to the point.
It's not for her to say.
It's not for her to say. She has been there.
Constitution that
she has been there, done that.
So now let me say, it's not for Sopha.
She has been there and done that.
Just for public
So
education.
continue to respect her and agree with her.
This audit reports, which specific audit report are you referring to? Please, hold on.
Oh.
I just want you to...
Yes,
just
Auditor General's audit report. Oh, we had copies. They were shared. It's an audit report. Okay, as we go on, I'll pull it out. Okay, so let's make the point. But that's not enough. So this is what happened. Let's state the facts clearly so that we understand this case. So this is what happens. Under the Constitution, Article 71, right? Under Article 71, the president determines the conditions of service of Chief Justice, except many people,
yes, sir,
based on the recommendations of a committee of 5 persons. Then Parliament determines the emoluments of the president, vice versa. But I'm saying that under 71, it is for the president to determine on the advice of the committee, right? So now, just briefly, so that people can follow shortly. The salaries and allowances payable and the facilities and privileges available to, then let's go B, Chief Justice and the other justices of the Superior Court of Judicature shall be being expensed, blah, blah. So that's the thing, right? So we're saying that for the Chief Justice to have the privilege to travel with her daughter or her husband, is it in what the president approved? Simple. And the Constitution is the highest law. So the judiciary went and made an illegal policy. They went and made an illegal policy where now she can go with security detail, and then sometimes they say when it is, when it is an official trip, then it is relaxed because presumably there will be security there. So I'm saying that the simple argument, what the committee held,
the policy?
The judiciary, they did. The Judicial Council. Yeah, so we are saying it's an illegality because
because that policy was inconsistent with the provision of...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, please.
I just needed a clarification on that.
So 71 says the president should determine. So the point is that if you go and open the Bwando report, Irama, Green Street, all of those reports, what the president approved, did it include travel with your daughter or your husband? Respectfully, no. That is where the illegality comes from. So it doesn't matter that the Judicial Council went and did an illegality. So for Akuffo benefited from it, Eni Yeboah benefited from it, right? And now Ghanaians are becoming wiser. I say, now we've become wiser. People are looking for accountability all over. And they went and discovered it. And some citizens brought it up. And the committee looked and said, it is not borne out. And thankfully for us, even before Tokonu was taken to court, in the Abronye DC case, Tokonu held that they cannot give the spouses of the president and the vice president. So she had earlier on ruled that it is not borne out by 71. So the committee was simply adopting precedent that Tokonu herself has set up. And I'm saying that, please, you insult Evans, you insult Winifred, you insulted millions of Ghanaians when you come and say spending over 300,000 Ghana cedis is a trifling. And I've told you. So you see, from day one, I said, no, this one, I disagree with Sopha Akuffo violently. I disagree with her. Yeah, she can be lucky that when she did it, it didn't bring her consequences. But the fact that an illegality is repeated endlessly doesn't make it legal. She is lucky that she got away with it. But that doesn't then mature into now, asking that it's legal. The question is that, is it borne out by 71? Please, let's not do this. Because the more we say, oh, she was just hounded, what are the facts? Look, and the principle is that if it was even 1 Ghana cedis, please, it's the same principle. And let's not forget this hounding now. Remember me, the first day Joy FM, they interviewed me. They said, Kwebu, what would have been your advice, or if you're a lawyer to the Chief Justice, what would you advise? That very first day, looking at the facts, I said, I would have told her, resign, because I didn't see how she could win the case. You've bought the ticket. With hindsight, we are becoming wiser that, okay, maybe in future, can we categorize the offenses so that things like that, maybe a refund. Ayarga said it on the floor of Parliament.
So in categorizing the offenses, there's a particular threshold that would warrant.
Yes,
is there no mechanism now to determine the threshold that would warrant?
No, right now there isn't. So Ayarga, the majority leader, Mama Ayarga, said they will come out with one. Right. And don't forget, you're calling something hounding up. This is a person that the president was willing to put aside a Supreme Court decision. Remember, Eduji brought it. What's the name of the justice? No, that said that when they start, you cannot resign. But we sat here and kept making noise that no, JM should allow him to resign. JM should allow him to resign. And I understand, we're told on authority that some eminent citizens even intervened, and then JM agreed that she should bring a resignation. This is a nation that was willing to let her go gracefully, but she chose to fight on. How do you win this case? You've already bought the ticket. Which lawyer? How can a lawyer win such a case? So the point is that this is somebody the president had bent over backwards. JM had bent over backwards to save her from disgrace, and she spanned it. She spanned it. To hell with your offer of a resignation. I'll fight in court. And today you've been removed, and I have no tears for talk on it. No, let's not do this. Let's be.
When I said hounded, he was saying my words were harsh. He's using the term illegality. They are administrative infractions. They don't rise to the point of illegality where you're using a criminal,
who says illegality is restricted to criminal law? No. Every breach of a law is an illegality.
No, hold on.
I didn't say criminal illegality. Every breach of a rule, even TV3, the rule is that
if
don't come here.
Somebody commits an administrative infraction, which
it's an illegality.
Whatever, but you are also using a very strong word.
You see?
Yes, you also use a very strong word.
So am I getting to go into that?
It's intimidating.
Exactly. Because today, why you are doing. So look, my key point.
Respond to that bit about the convention that had been established by this particular policy, which you identify as inconsistent with 71.
So the Supreme Court has a decision, Georgina Woodson. That's the famous thing, that if you repeat something illegal for over, is it 100 years? It cannot ripen to. Thank you. It cannot ripen to legality. That's why I said, yes, first we used to revere them, but use more. You see, as a society is growing bigger, and we are becoming wiser and more knowledge, we are beginning to hold even the Supreme Court to account. So maybe that's how comes of Kufu and Yebua got away with it. But by the time Tokonu came, no, citizens had become more alert.
Right.
She was just unfortunate. But the president bent over backwards to receive a resignation. And you embarrass the president, embarrass the emissaries who were, embarrass us also here, who that day, when Eduji pulled the Supreme Court decision, my face became long. Because I've been here drumming that Tokonu be allowed to resign. Then when the Eduji pulled out the Supreme Court decision, it had been long. And it's a 2015 decision. Lawyers from time to time, you forget. My face became long, but I didn't relent. I continued that. Lawyers, quickly, you think on your feet. So I said to every rule, there's an exception. Senior Asari agreed. Many Ghanaians agreed. The president agreed. You spanned it.
Has she done anything wrong by pursuing her rights?
So she should continue. She should continue. So can we get to talk about the ECOWAS court?
Yes.
So the ECOWAS court, I'm sure I can only make 2 points because time is running out. So when I read, so the ECOWAS court, I can imagine because time is gone, I can make only 2 points. Now on the ECOWAS court, I read the part about the prima facie ruling. That's what I'm interested in.
Okay, good. This is the prima facie ruling part.
That's the point one. Because
whether it should be reason.
Yes, that's the relief one. Her right to a fair trial. So she says she has a right to fair trial. Many things. The one
prima facie examination did not violate fair hearing principle. This one.
Yes. So when you read the judgment, at a point, the commission, or let's call it the court for easy reference, at a point they conceded that whether she has a right to rate or not is subject to Ghanaian law. So Ghanaian law will determine. Then after that, they now went ahead and said, well, so meaning that she hasn't established it for them to see that she's entitled to rate. So there's no violation.
To fair hearing?
Yes.
You don't have to prove that you're entitled to fair hearing.
No,
it's
no,
natural.
Now you have to.
You have to prove that it was denied you.
Yes.
But you don't have to prove that you are entitled to it.
But she failed to do that.
That it was denied.
Yeah,
so she gave 3 or 4. Let's just repeat. As I said, that Edukusi was excluded the first day, which is true. But eventually, when they went to it, they said there was no violation.
In fact, the committee actually provided a record of proceeding, and the question was put to the lawyer. And his answer was no.
Can you bind? Yes. So the question they asked Edukusi was that, can you bind her? I mean, in terms of witnesses, etc. Said no. So that's why they excluded, right? But my key one, the one we are looking forward to, that our Supreme Court should nail it for us. This is the thing. The one Eduji said, the committee asked the Edukusi that. So this is what they say. The court has carefully examined the said record and finds that it does not support the applicant's characterization of event. The court observed that at the time when the committee saw the applicant's counsel's concurrence on matters relating to the conduct of the proceedings on behalf of the applicant, that's Justice Tokonu, and asked whether he can bind the respondent as to procedure to be adopted, counsel expressly declined to provide such approval, stating, "My lord, I cannot." So it means that your lawyer comes to court and the business they are to conduct, they say, "Can you bind her? Do you represent her?" You say, "I cannot." Then, so that's the basis of. So the lawyer couldn't say that, yes, I have the instructions of Tokonu to bind her, to represent her fully. He said, "I cannot." So that's how come they excluded him. It gives a reasonable answer, but I said, my main thing to land, my thing is about the prima facie determination. Yes. And as I mentioned, the commission or court at a point stated that it is to be determined under Ghanaian law, or it's Ghanaian law that will show.
Yes.
And that she couldn't show under Ghanaian law that it is a right to be entitled to a reasoned hearing. So since the Supreme Court will deal with it on the 2nd of July, I'll hold my horses. Because for us, for administrative justice, etc., it's good to have a reasoned ruling. Look at that beautiful thing Akufo-Addo signed. The one Asare presented that Tokonu be removed, the first petition. See, Akufo-Addo came out with a long ruling. We read it. Then you see there was meat in it. Then we say, yes, here we agree. There we disagree. That's how we should build a nation. Especially in view of the fact that as far back as 2003, 2004, the Chachu-Chikata case, they said, when you have authority to make a decision concerning somebody, and you don't give the reasons, you open yourself up to accusations of bias. Speculation. Malice, that this is just a malicious thing. You just want to get rid of the person. You see, so once the Supreme Court itself had said in 2003, 2004 Supreme Court of Ghana law report, that if you don't give reasons, these are the things that come. I think we should hold that line. Hold that line firmly. So we should accept that, yes, the failure to give Tokonu the reasoned ruling is not on, but it doesn't mean that she automatically wins the case or that the petitions be thrown out because she didn't get the ruling. But as for that one, July 2nd, when I see the Supreme Court judgment, I want to see what they say.
What are you expecting?
Oh, I'm expecting that they will say that one is a breach. If they don't, we will keep advocating here so that we improve the law. I have a seat here today because there were laws that were in our books and everybody said they were lawful, And I came, just about 9 years at the bar, and wow, small, pam. Then the Supreme Court changed the laws. So even if they come July 2nd, they say there's no right to a reasoned ruling, we will disagree and continue to advocate because you want administrative justice to move forward. Don't just say, I've read the petitions, I find that there is prima facie, so go before the committee. No, give. Ground 1, this. Look at the Akufo-Addo template. It's online, you remember?
Right.
And Nebuchadnezzar. But you see that when he did well, that one, we are praising him. We're praising Nebuchadnezzar.
Council, you know that you could have actually said this.
You want me to say Manpan?
You could have said this without.
You are now
There's an injunction against you from using that.
Exactly. You could have said this without.
Akufo-Addo is my friend.
Very well.
It's like leather senior.
Okay, these are the 4 cases that
There's
you
a
referenced.
restraining order.
The 4 cases that you referenced, which have been consolidated and the ruling on July 2,
Yes.
would also give another direction to this case.
Yes.
Is this for the one by Vincent Ekwasifua,
Yes, a lawyer.
and then also is the member of parliament for the Otafo constituency. Then the Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems, Theodore Kofi Atakote, and then one by get to Tokono, her ladyship herself.
Yes.
And then this is the panel, right, that will sit on July 2 to determine this consolidated case.
Tanko is on the panel. Oh, yes. Then you expect fireworks to be a blockbuster. Eh?
Why do you call this blockbuster?
Yeah, it will be a blockbuster.
So there you have it. It's a 7-member panel.
This is a very interesting panel.
Yes, so you have His Lordship Justice Amadou
I
Tanko,
want them to
Justice
that last one.
Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi, His Lordship Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, His Lordship Justice Senyo Jamepe, His Lordship Justice Sir Dominic Dennis Ajay, Her Ladyship Justice Hafisa Amaleboba. It's a case that she sat on when in law school you were friends. And then also His Lordship Bill Simon Sobire in there. Now, I come with Mr. Mekuduka, quick one on this. Right. There would have been some convention that has been established as a result of a policy passed or a policy that has been adopted by the Judicial Council from the understanding that Ramati Pebo gives. But if it's inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution, it cannot be justified in any way.
Right. The most important point that I want to highlight here is that the NPP has never in any way exhibited the will to protect any individual who has gone foul of the law or has been found guilty of in any way taking the purse of this country for granted. Our quest has been based on the independence of our legal framework. And that is what we have been forcefully pushing. I am kind of scandalized as a new soul in the legal fraternity, where we seek to make pronouncements before we come into power, and then seek to go by the very words we professed on our campaign platforms. Fifi Viavi Korte accused the then Chief Justice on appointment of justices to the Superior Court of Judicature. Sami Jemfi highlighted on the scheduling of political cases at the Supreme Court, haunted the Chief Justice at that time that she will be removed when they are voted for.
Sami Jemfi said that?
What he said is what I have said.
No.
But impliedly, they loudly...
You mentioned Fifi and Sami Jemfi for clarity. I beg you, so I can respond, please.
Please,
Mr. Mekuduka.
Because Sami is not here, I'm acting for him.
I'm asking.
Are you his lawyer?
Yes. Hold on. You referenced 2 individuals. Which one of them specifically made the comment that the former Chief Justice will be removed?
You didn't allow me to finish with my sentence. What I said was, he said, and if he didn't say so, let me know, He critiqued. So let me finish my point. He critiqued the then Chief Justice on the aspect of scheduling of political cases, fifis. He also critiqued the then Chief Justice of appointments of nominations of justices to the Superior Court of Judicature. Impliedly, and they shouted loud, impliedly, the impression created at that time was that the Chief Justice was going to be removed. And same impression was also mounted on the EC.
So you're saying two different things now. So there was no specific statement made by any of the two persons.
Let me make my point.
That the Chief Justice would be removed.
I said impliedly. That came out loud and clear.
You got that kind of reasoning from statements made, but no specific statement was made for a removal. I think I just needed to establish that as a matter of fact.
You have the right to do so, but I am espousing the point and reiterating the point that impression was made loud and clear by the NDC stalwarts that the Chief Justice was going to be removed when they come into power. And that impression has been practicalized. Now, well, let me say that the Community Court of Justice of the Economic Community of West Africa State never ruled on the entire matter that is to be determined by the justices that you've shown to your viewers. It's mentioned or ruled on the human rights aspect of it. And no constitutional declaration was made. So let me establish that. No constitutional declaration was made.
So they ruled on the specific... I don't understand what you mean by that.
It's not just human rights. Some of the things are constitutional. The prima facie is a constitutional matter.
How is it constitutional?
It's in the constitution.
You see, the matter that was put before the community court was generally on the human rights.
No.
So
you see, when you use human rights,
the ruling is just 68 pages.
So don't let us create an impression that the court in any way endorsed a certain political question.
Which political question? There was no political question before.
Will you allow me to make my point, please?
Gentlemen, hold on. There were specific questions or reliefs that the court had to respond to. The court cannot answer a question that is not before it.
Octopus.
Yes.
So there was no political doctrine question before the court.
That is as if, we've won a battle at the community court. Meanwhile, the same government had even challenged the jurisdiction of the court. Did you follow the matter? When the ruling was made on even the jurisdiction of the court, nobody came out to even talk about it. But in November 2025, the first interim measures was dismissed. Same court dismissed that interim measure that was put before it by Tokono. The second front is what we've witnessed today. Mine is that, yes, I will not condone and connive with any, body seeking to kind of take this country for granted. But you may be comparing apples to mangoes when you say somebody is earning maybe 1,000 Ghana a year, and because somebody is also earning or has in a way practically within the remit of her responsibilities, that is wider in terms of base, has legally consumed, which has not been proven otherwise, 300,000. So we incite the public against the person.
No, what do you mean by if that it has been legally consumed and otherwise not proven?
Yes, so if I ask you, how much are you earning in a year? And if it is not up to 100,000, and therefore somebody has alleged that I've spent 300,000. It means the person, because you don't earn 100,000 a year, the person must be kind of, in a way, put behind bars.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Like the question my junior brother and senior lawyer just posed to the lady is what I'm talking about.
Which is what?
Which is that because she's not earning 100,000, then Tokono, having spent 300,000, must be found guilty.
The context of that analogy was that we don't have to seek to water down or belittle the quantum involved. That look.
But you need to situate that in proper perspective.
That's what.
What is the role of Tokono, and what's the role of the lady you asked? And if in any way you find a way of rubbing in that yes, 100,000, if it is even 1 cedi, is money. But you don't kind of create an impression that people are sitting somewhere, there is a political group sitting somewhere to water down or downplay 300,000, whilst you know that the role of a chief justice could even utilize 300,000 a day per the responsibility assigned to that office. So why must you come and sit here and say that because you are earning 1,000 and somebody has spent maybe 300,000 on an assignment, that person must be found guilty?
An assignment or the husband an assignment?
Let's allow the judiciary to be independent.
And so go and do
rather than sitting somewhere to create an, make it or politicize the judiciary, because you are forcefully putting yourself in, as you mentioned on your platforms in the electioneering campaign. That is where you forcefully critiqued Tokono. You came and hounded him, and somebody is talking about it, and you are not even allowing the person to express himself. Has she been found guilty as of now? So why are we doing this to this?
Guilty of what?
Guilty of what has been presented to the Supreme Court. Has the ruling been made?
What? Okay. You.
Oh, in terms of prima facie, we've gone past that stage. What is to be determined on the is it on the 1st or 2nd of July? 2nd of July. What is to be determined? I'm asking you.
The reliefs being sought has nothing specifically to do with being found guilty. I mean, in that context, as you put it, it's challenging her removal. But
yes.
Really.
But so
when you talk about she being found guilty of and you know, I hope, and I know you know, because you know the processes of Article 146.
Yes. That was invoked. That was hinged on the petition.
Process
146, yeah.
The entire removal process went through what is stipulated in there. There had to be a committee that was established to investigate.
We've gone past all these things.
Establish whether there was basis for the removal. What guilt are you talking about? I just want to understand.
The guilt of what Martin mentioned, of about the 300,000.
Okay.
It forms part of the reliefs that is sent before the Supreme Court. If it is not part, let us know why is she being removed. That is the capital on which they are basing the argument on. And that is my worry, that we sit here. In future, if we don't in any way define the independence of the judiciary, in future we may have these processes being raised by other individuals who are politically induced. And that is why I am scandalized to see situations of this nature, especially where people in their loudest form sought to in any way persecute the woman before they even assume the realms of power. And same group of people who are in this government, doing same. So we need to be careful in this dispensation. I am sad that it's spanning out this way. But I don't know Madam Tokono from anywhere. Any justice or chief justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, I also respect. I respect them. Those who have been appointed to that platform, I humbly, as a student of law and as a lawyer, I will always respect them. I mean, the names that you've outlined here, they are respected, justices of this country. And whatever verdict they come out with will be a lesson to learn. But my worry is some of us, when we get the platform and talking about the law, we need to be careful. Not in any way incite the youth against democracy. Otherwise, we may be taken for granted one day. We shouldn't forget 1979. We shouldn't forget 81. All these things are lessons for us to learn.
Okay. Thank you. July 2 is a date to watch on the ruling. You say it's going to be a blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's one. Let's do Tamaklo.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it to be a blockbuster.
the ECOWAS court's position as per the reliefs that the former Chief Justice sought from the courts, and then also what's going to be happening on July 2. Counsel, quickly.
Okay. So, once again, I want to say this. You see, in the 1960s, something happened with the trial of Tawi Adamafio and co.
Yeah.
And after that decision, the President of the Republic was not happy because these were persons that were considered to be involved in a coup d'etat against him. So after the acquittal and discharge, the report indicates that the President was not happy. And that eventually led to the removal of the Chief Justice then. And so fast forward 1979 Constitution, a provision was put in the Constitution to ensure that justices of the Superior Court will not be removed in the conduct of their work. It is to provide that security of tenure when they act. That provision was repeated in the 1992 Constitution, the basis of Article 146, the security of tenure provisions. And it is clear, a judge in the performance of his core duties cannot be removed. So if today a decision comes and the President is not happy, the President cannot say, on the basis of this, I am doing this action. No. And so Article 146 then introduced the grounds on the basis on which a justice of the Superior Court can be removed. In the specific case, yes.
If the President...
Yes.
I should go for it?
Yeah, go to number 1.
Okay, I'll pull that up.
146. And so you notice, and because you see, this is a serious platform. And by way of public education, we need to carry our people along by way of public education. So it is because of our checkered history we introduce this particular constitutional provision. And let me say this. Attempts at removing a justice or a chief justice or whatsoever is not a recent happening. In fact, the record will show that Chief Justice Apalu, when he was a High Court judge, okay, Chief Justice Apalu, when he was a High Court judge, was a member of the Commission of Inquiry that investigated Nkrumah's appointees. And banned, eventually the CPP was banned. So the idea was that when the CPP element came back under Liman, there was an attempt to pay back, to get him into Parliament when the new Supreme Court was created, by saying that, well, if you were the head of the judiciary at that time, come back to Parliament so that the CPP elements who are now part of Liman will use that platform to say, we disapprove of you in Parliament. A young lecturer at KNUST, Dr. Amwaku Tufo, approached the Supreme Court through which today the locus classicus to for an attorney general was established. Look, the Ghana Bar Association also attempted to remove Chief Justice Aban. But when they realized that they could not get a prima facie through Article 146, they couched the same grounds as relief for the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, through Pegan, Ajoye, and Co., cleverly saw that this was a removal attempt couched to look as a constitutional, interpretation matter. So quickly have it dismissed. Again, there was an attempt to remove Aqua by the respected Bright Akwete. That founded Ajay Chum. And so the point ought to be made very clear that from 1979, there had always been one attempt no, but I am just talking about how those attempts had been judicially, stopped or one way or the other. So that's basically it. You see, this morning...
But in those moments, announcements were not made on political platforms.
Can I proceed?
You may.
So one thing that is clear and without ambiguity is that for the removal of Chief Justice Tokonu, she was not, the recommendation for her removal was not because of a judicial pronouncement. That is what the law forbids. That is what the Constitution does not allow. On this platform, nobody has put out there that Chief Justice Tokonu was removed because he made a judgment against somebody or the other. Nobody whatsoever.
But if you made an impeachment pronouncement on a political platform.
Mr. Kodoka, please.
You see, I listened to you, and at the point, I don't know what you were talking about, but I knew I'll have my time. What is also not in doubt is that if you look at the initial conversation of this whole process, if you recall, when Vincent Assefuah first went to the court, his accusation or prayer at that time was that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, had not been given a copy of the petition. Not long, the Chief Justice herself, then now removed, wrote to the President requesting for copies of the petition. And if you look at the ECOWAS court decision, they addressed that. That as at the time, the prima facie determination was made, she had a copy of the petition. In fact, she wanted a few days. The President graciously gave even more days so she could prepare adequately her defense. So that also not in doubt. Two, the argument has also been made that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, was denied the opportunity to put out her case. That the ECOWAS court also found to be inaccurate. The other contention that was made was that, listen, the determination of a prima facie and her suspension is made and not mandatory. And though, to the extent that there was a may in that Article 146, the President or the Council of State in exercising that power ought to have come out with a CI, because Article 296 provides where discretionary power is given to a person other than the judge, that exercise of discretionary power must be construed within the confines of a constitutional instrument. What is not in doubt is that, if you recall, in the case of Elikplim Agbamava versus the Attorney General, the pardoning of the Muntie Three, that was the contention. That by reason of Article 72 on pardoning, you needed, that was the contention Elikplim made in that case, that because the President may remit or pardon, he needed to have come out with a CI. The Supreme Court, speaking through Justice Bennett, had this to say, that to the extent that that May decision is done in consultation with or in accordance with or on the advice of, the requirement of a CI is not needed. So that has also been properly addressed by our Supreme Court. And so if you look of all the issues that were raised point by point have been adequately, judiciously addressed. So what really is the point? You see, this morning, I've heard and I've listened to my brother said, oh, in future, a president would conduct or do this or do that. You see, all this talk or new thing, for me, the lesson to all public servants is that when public service is entrusted in your care, remember their rules of engagement and deal within those rules. The view has been expressed today that previous chief justices had conducted themselves in a particular manner. And so that conduct has crystallized into a lawful conduct.
There was a convention established because of a policy in place.
Nobody said that.
Exactly. So
Nobody said
exactly my point. I deliberately calculated for your reverse, answer. Because I knew that would be your answer. Because we know
he's trying to be the chief propagandist.
We know by law, there's no way an illegal conduct or unlawful conduct can crystallize into legality. There's no way, even if it's repeated. In fact, if you recall, when the coalition of civil society sued the Attorney General in respect of Domelevo's removal, the argument the Attorney General at that time did was that President Mills of blessed memory wrote to the then Auditor General Duajima also on the accumulated leave. And for that matter, Akufo-Addo doing same was lawful. The Supreme Court said no. To the extent that that conduct, there is no way precedents can be found on it, even if it's repeated 100 times. Again, so far, Judge Nawood in the ex parte Richard Anani decision also repeated the same thing. So there is enough constitutional basis for this, you understand. But you see, this morning, I've seen that Mreku Duka went back, forth. First, he started with Fifi Kwete. Then he came to Sami Jemfi. And then it's all over the place. You see, let's not do this to ourselves.
I thought you didn't understand what I said.
Unless, of course, we are saying Sami Jemfi anticipated, or Fifi Kwete anticipated, or Eduji anticipated that the Chief Justice was going to travel with a daughter and husband. Clairvoyance.
Excellent.
Clairvoyance. No, you are basically telling me that Samuel Jemfi or Honorable Fifi Kwete anticipated that now removed Chief Justice was going to travel with the daughter or was going to travel with the husband, contrary to a policy. But you see, you remember the Chief Justice. There was a time, public conversation about pronouncement of the court. When she had the opportunity to address the public, you know what she told us? He said the law is the law. And repeated it again, that the law is the law. Why are we making excuses? Why are we making excuses this morning? Look, me, the office I hold, it's a public office governed by rules of engagement. It tells you to be mindful. I recall vividly the removal of Charlotte Osei. When the issue came up that she was going to be removed on the basis of procurement breaches, some of us said, The framers of the Public Procurement Act anticipated criminal consequences when there are breaches. However, they first said when there is a breach, that breach should first be what? The Public Procurement Authority should be informed of that breach. They will set up a committee. The committee will investigate. Upon that establishment, the PPA can take a decision, one, to abrogate the contract, rectify the contract, or even do what they call rectification. That then the criminal consequences follows. When this issue came, we said, a person holding that constitutional office of electoral commissioner, if the misconduct or the misdeed flows directly from her conduct as an electoral commissioner, then you can find a basis for her removal. At that time, Mrekuduka and Co. in justifying President Akufo-Addo's decision to remove her, told us that who the hell is Charlotte Osei?
Was it President Akufo-Addo's decision?
Please. This morning,
workers
you see,
of Electoral Commission raised
Daniel Ofori is a card-bearing member of NDC. Please, do you know what is happening?
No, why are you saying that it was Akufo-Addo's
the petitioner for the removal of
Akufo-Addo petition?
Okay.
No, did Akufo-Addo
but this morning you were mentioning I knew I'll get you. This morning you were mentioning Fifi Kwete and Samuel J.
But was did Akufo-Addo in any way petition?
Who removed her?
The law. You mentioned the law.
So who removed Gertrude?
Gertrude because Sammy Jemfi mentioned impeachment of Gertrude.
The devil is not your friend this morning.
Because he mentioned
Even the devil is honorable
he
this
predicted
morning.
it.
Even the devil is honorable.
That was what they were going to do when he were in power. Akufo-Addo never petitioned anybody. So why are you mentioning Akufo-Addo?
So let the point be made clear. Any attempt by any group of persons to insinuate that her ladyship, Gertrude Tokonu, was hounded out of office is not born out of the facts or the records.
Okay.
Look, I recall vividly, and myself and Malene Senior, on this same platform, we discussed this adequately. What was the issue then? In the midst of the hearing, I am aware of emissaries.
You see?
Emissaries, prominent people in this republic who approach the president and say, look, Mr. President, the woman says, or whatever, will resign. So she'll be entitled to a benefit among other things. Even when the law says once an impeachment proceeding commences, you cannot resign because then you overreach the process. The president was willing to oblige. This should tell you this is a president who has no interest whatsoever in the proceedings.
So the president was willing to flout the law? Is that what you are saying?
To even allow, for a greater good, to allow her.
Yes.
That is how magnanimous, merciful John Mahama.
Yes.
Akufo-Addo could not exercise that judgment.
It's up to you. Well,
the person you used to worship, Nana Addo Dankwa, could never exercise that judgment.
Your own
Let
party
me round up.
had mentioned that you're going to impeach the Chief Justice.
Please.
And you are here, magnanimity.
You see, you talk about, you see, I do not want to go back so that I dignify what you are doing with equalization. Yeah. Why were we not in this country about Charlotte Osei and the rest?
She didn't even get a copy of the petition.
Yes.
Who was please?
And you know the person who established a prima facie against Charlotte Osei, Sophie Akufu. I don't want to talk about her. I have great respect. Please, I beg you. I have great respect. She alone, please,
your friend has been
she alone made a determination of prima facie against Charlotte Osei. Today she has a problem.
But not Akufo-Addo.
Oh, please. Mrekuduka, why are you doing this?
There was specific.
I'm just asking a question.
Case, so
you see,
the humble
the point, very well. The point I'm making is that she, Sophie Akufu, alone, as a Chief Justice, made a prima facie determination against Charlotte Osei, and it was lawful. Today, her colleagues, members of Council of State, makes a determination, and she isolates herself and say the decision of the collective. I mean, what's the principle here, madam? Because of the great respect I have for her, I decided that this matter, I won't even respond. But she alone. And it's on the basis of a prima facie determination that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo together set up the Justice Burning Committee together with Mafosa, Agnes Doji, and the two civilians that made the recommendation for the removal of Charlotte Osei. If her decision is proper,
principle of equalization,
why is she trying to undermine the decision of the collective?
Okay.
The point ought to be made adequately clear. We are building a constitutional democracy.
Excellent.
These things will be coming up. Okay. I am happy that all these lawsuits, ECOWAS courts, and others are coming in. they serve a proper precedent. But let nobody, absolutely nobody, say President Mahama had or made any comment prior to becoming president about the removal of Chief Justice. If anybody is able to show me evidence of President Mahama ever making any comment as to the removal of a Chief Justice, I want the person to put it forward. Don't go and refer to very inconsequential, immaterial issues as the basis. In any case, did anybody know, with respect, that she was going to travel with her spouse or family members?
Now, it's some 7 minutes of the hour, 10 a.m. There's a question from Dr. Kwame Asante to lawyer Kofi Bento. Says, I want to find out, okay, so good morning to you and the panel. I want to find out, first of all, if the specific convention or policy that was adopted by the Judicial Council, which legitimizes the decisions taken by past and the specific Chief Justice in question, is, if proven to be inconsistent with the Constitution, one that can be glossed over as a mere administrative situation.
No, even the policies you are found to have breached, even the policy.
Yeah,
there are two different things. The policy itself, in and of itself, was not declared unconstitutional. But even the same policy that others had used previously, she was found to have breached it.
I see.
So it's a two different things.
The answer to Dr. Sante is yes. One, there was a convention, something they did. Lawful or unlawful, that's another matter. But they did that. They interpreted the rule apparently differently. Now, in the particular case, what I am told or what I read is that she also did what is normally done. And an audit question was raised on it. Why this? And it was answered. So in other words, it was approved for her to do it. She didn't approve those things. She went ahead and did the expenditure. Her internal auditors and accountants, etc., passed it. Auditor General raised questions on it. It was answered. And in the final audit report coming out of the Auditor General's office, it was passed. So all the things that have been said about it being illegal or whatever it is, clearly the woman did not get up and do something which was not done. And it was passed ultimately in that audit report. Now, the point that is being made is, even accepting that it was not lawful, it does not rise as an administrative lapse to the point of the removal of a Chief Justice in the contemplation of the law as it is. Okay, so the short answer is yes. But this is the long answer.
Just on this particular point about the threshold and whether or not it arises.
You see,
and then I'll come
when you open
Mesano,
Article 146, it doesn't put threshold, it just says misconduct. So if you breach a rule, it means that, strictly speaking, any rule you breach is a misconduct.
Right.
If you park in the wrong place,
yes, it's a misconduct.
You as a Chief Justice.
Of course.
Okay.
You see,
now you understand.
You see, when Charlotte was removed, Mr. Abdullah Malik Kweku Bakun went to the Supreme Court with his lawyer Samson Ladi Ayenene, and I was in court that day. His argument was that the specific allegations against Madame Charlotte Osei had nothing to do with her conduct, and that there were procurement infractions. I was in court that day. The justices of the Supreme Court asked the lawyer in open court, is it your suggestion that evidence of a breach of statute is not a misconduct to warrant such a removal? And that's how the matter ended. I was in court that day.
I see.
So it is either we come up with a clear legislation detailing the specific conduct that can crystallize into that removal process, or we leave it at that.
Is it your contention that
mindful that we're in this country, when justices, Superior Court justices were removed on Anas Aremia's, what shall I say, exposés.
Number 12.
Number 12 and all the matter that have come. So you see, if we say that the list is exhaustive, it becomes problematic.
So I was asking, is it your contention that every infraction whatsoever is sufficient ground to remove a chief justice?
That question doesn't arise here.
Let me ask
Why we have millions of citizens.
Let me allow me to ask.
Let me allow so that you respond.
Yeah,
asking the question. He's asking.
One, that every infraction is cause for
That's
removal. Two,
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, let's not
But
waste
that is
precious
sophistry.
time.
let me ask my question. You are lawyers. Why do we have a hierarchy of
Have you put
infractions?
hierarchy in 146? Have you put hierarchy
Why do we
in
have
146?
misdemeanors, first degree, second degree?
But
let's rework 146.
Just answer me.
That's-
No, answer me.
Okay,
Yeah,
can
we
I
are
proceed?
answering. That's why Sophie Kufu said in the J2 case that we should come out with detailed rules, etc.
No, you are not answering me.
Let me ask.
You are not answering me.
Let me.
You are not answering me.
You see, if you look at the Constitution and its architecture, the determination as to threshold is left for the president together with the Council of State. And that is why the prima facie determination is left for them. They make that prima facie determination, and then like a filtering mechanism, leaves the rest to persons with a skill set. And that is why if you look for the removal of the justice of the Superior Court, particularly for Chief Justice, the composition is supposed to be 3 Supreme Court judges.
You are deviating.
Peer review.
You are not answering my question. My
and
question
then
was...
Yeah, 3 lay people. And so what are we talking about?
Deviating. I said...
I'm not deviating.
Don't mind
The question I asked, why shouldn't he mind? Does every infraction constitute grounds for the removal of a chief justice? If he's arrested crossing a red light, is it grounds? Answer the question. Answer the question. Why is there a hierarchy of crimes? Why do we have first degree, second degree? Why do you have
you put that in 146?
Answer the question.
Have you put that in 146?
Does everything rise to the point where you remove a chief justice?
Over 300,000 is not a
What is the answer to the question?
Over 300,000 is what you should answer.
No, let me just answer. 30 seconds. You see, the Criminal Offences Act, for obvious reason, Parliament legislated the categorization of offences. Now, in the superior wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they left it at misdeed. But that determination is supposed to be made, whether that threshold has been met, is the President, Council of State. After that filtering mechanism, it goes to 2 justices of the Superior Court, 3 lay people, to now determine whether that warrants a removal. That process we have gone through.
So what's your answer to
now, at this point, if myself and Kofi say we are more smarter, wiser
because it's not
than
simple
those
to
people,
answer.
it becomes
question.
It's not binary.
Administrative
It's not
infractions
binary.
will cause for removal of
It's not binary.
We'll be mindful of tomorrow. We must be mindful of tomorrow. Please.
Is this provision that you reference about this process of the 3 justices of the Superior Court or chairman of the regional tribunals or both appointed by the Judicial Council and two other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers, and who shall be appointed by the Chief Justice on the advice of the Council of State?
And that's for Electoral Commission and those other persons. But when it's the Chief Justice, it requires 2 justices of the Supreme Court and 3 civilians.
Yes.
And in this specific case, that process went through. So procedural fairness, administrative fairness, all of these were complied with. And that is why, and you see, Martin keeps saying something about the reasoned ruling. If you look at the ECOWAS court, what the ECOWAS court indicated was that that whole process is deliberative. It is not quasi-judicial. And that if it was a quasi-judicial inquiry, then a reasoned ruling would have been given. And I want to believe that it is because of who the members of the council, the president, are. If it crystallizes into a different conversation, it's different. I'm not sure the reasoning of Sophie Akufu in the removal of Charlotte Osei came out.
No.
The prima facie.
No.
Even though she was a judge.
Yeah.
So you can see the
There
distinction.
definitely has to be some learnings and takeaways, and that's the
that deliberative thing to me, I disagree. It's a serious matter.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, we're happy that the ECOWAS court has ruled. It gives us something to chew on. But critically, in my view, the question on my mind is that we clearly need some kind of clarity in terms of what is misconduct, what is misdeed, and guidance that allows at any point when we take a decision, there's clarity. And I'm wondering, how have other jurisdictions resolved this? We seem to be having an internal discussion, but there are other countries that also have a democratic system. How have they addressed this issue of misconduct, misdeed, especially when it comes to the judiciary and decisions that are taken? And the things we can learn from them as well. Of course, public policy, there's a dynamism. We need to learn and then improve on it. And I think we need to take these situations, whether it is Charlotte Osei or whether it's Gertrude Tekonu, and see what is it that we are picking to improve our jurisprudence, improve our regulatory, our legal frameworks, such that going ahead, we don't seem to be knocking our heads on such issues. And that would be my take. It's good for her to continue exploring her rights, but much more important for us as a nation to learn from this as well as from other jurisdictions as well.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world, on 3news.com, on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London television as well. This one here says...
Before MPP came, they said they will remove Charlotte Osei. Kennedy Japan said it. So when you remove Charlotte Osei, would you say it's a Kufuor? Before you came,
I thought you said we are done.
You said you remove Charlotte Osei,
please.
And you remove them.
See,
you remove them.
Must I go on chronicling the things that you said before
please.
It's important. You also said it. Kennedy Japan said they will remove Charlotte Osei,
have been made.
and they removed them.
Thank you.
Guys, we are building a nation. Very soon we will all be gone. Listen. There is such a thing as posture and signaling. There is such a thing as incitement and solicitation. There is this statement about who will rid me of this meddlesome priest. Please Google it and read it. A king just said this. And because of that, some people took it as an order and murdered a knight. You've just mentioned about what somebody did in the past. He has also mentioned about what somebody did recently. We should move to the point where we stop this, incitement and solicitation.
Who says it's incitement? That's your opinion.
No. What you are saying is what I'm saying, that we should stop this thing.
You can't stop. Those are shades of opinion.
We should
stop it. You can't stop it.
We should stop it.
No, you can't stop it. That's bigotry. That's sounding in bigotry.
No.
When you say that's bigotry. How do you stop? You caution the very people who are now mounting the high moral horse.
So we shouldn't stop.
We are not stopping.
So we should continue.
You recount history, then you move forward. You can't stop. That's bigotry.
I need to exhaust
to say some opinions should not.
This one here from there's a message. It says Blue Rose Parliament. They say apparently there's a television at the center that all of you have gathered there to watch. That a number of statements from them regarding some of the issues you have raised. This one here says, I want to understand what Mekuduka is saying. When your government is in power and possibly benefiting from the process of corruption, how are they going to check their own corrupt officials? Khalil Man in Wa, you sent this one. There are quite a number of messages for you, Mekuduka, regarding clarity, but I think I kept asking those questions. Alfred, please tell Lawyer Duji to better just go and lecture at the law school because that is his calling. He will be a source of blessing to many students in the nation if he enters the classroom. Imagine this man.
I would apply to any of the law faculties to start teaching. Obviously, University of Ghana.
You won't have time. When you leave office, to kill you. The scripts.
This is from Kofi Fosu Nkansa in Asen Sibonso. Thank you very much. This one here says that, good morning. The suspended Chief Justice should know that not every battle strengthens a legacy. As President Donald Trump found out in his war with Iran. Power drunkenness leads to humiliation, defeat, and loss of status, you say. Thank you. This one here, Musa Abatwa. The Constitution is clear and no one is above the law. Many public office holders have left office under difficult circumstances and moved on with dignity. Instead of prolonging the matter, we should all go by this proposal that we should ensure some level of accountability while in office. And I agree with Toby Apede, the 14th, on this particular matter of corruption. The proposal that we should at least legislate 1 year stay after leaving office is one that should be, you says, considered, but it is not only the legislation that matters. This one here from, okay, thank you. How can a government official travel with the family, whether official or private? Any provisions in the Constitution that backs that? That's the question.
No.
There's
So it's
no
the
provision.
conditions, Article 71. So we have to look for the Wanda report, Green Street, all the most current one is what? So that one was done when Akufo-Addo was just leaving. That's where you find it. If it's not in that report, that's if the president doesn't approve, then it's illegal.
Sam Nate Kevo is a executive of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC Union. They said they are watching.
Okay.
I don't know if I should have read this, but this is GBC people's, the union said, this one.
No, it's good.
This one says, Kofi Bento.
It's called peer review.
Thank you. Yes, I like that. Yeah, trust lawyers. You'll find an answer for you.
It says, Kofi Bento advised Ken Ofori-Atta not to return to Ghana, yet the same person is advocating for a law that appointees should not leave Ghana until 1 year has elapsed. His suggestion is not genuine. You say it is quixotic, academic opinion. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. There are quite and I'll read them as we go on, but also for our social media, on Facebook, a number of you have sent us messages. This one here says, quickly, Adolf Mate says, Alfred, there's no need for any layer anywhere. If you ever seen an NDC minister run away from Ghana after they served office, Sedinam was in Ghana before her trial started. Adolf Mate on Facebook. Thank you very much. This one, Solomon Mensah as well sent a similar message. And then this one that came through earlier also on YouTube, quite a number of you sending us messages. This one here says, Yabuafo says, Edu Jitamaklo is making a brilliant point. Lawyer Martin Pebu should be considered. Why are you all making appointments to the Supreme Court? Should be considered
citizenship appointment.
To the Supreme Court.
Well, Martin will make a fine justice. Yeah. But now his consideration is money.
No, man, you want to build civil society.
Very well.
When you go there, you can't talk. I have to sit here and then we push.
No, but you know, you can use the bench also to,
Indeed.
Oh, look at it in future.
Right.
Yes.
We're live on the Voice of London Radio. I'll read the messages from the people in the diaspora, or those of you watching on the Voice of London television as well. So after this quick break. But as always, Key Point is proudly brought to you by Bank of Africa. And they say that from now until the end of October 2026, and take note of this, between now and October 2026, Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans at very slim rates to salaried workers. We understand you have urgent needs to sort out, and that's why we give you that quick turnaround time. Whether it is school fees, prospectus, or car maintenance, or that much deserved family vacation, Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. And the emphasis is on fast. The turnaround time you've never seen before. Visit the nearest branch or chat Fafa at www.boaghana.com to sign up. You may also WhatsApp them on 0244 338 That's for Bank of Africa, 0244 338 for some more inquiries. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. The Key Point is also brought to you by GASEM. GASEM is a nation builder for decades. They have produced cement that has helped us build the nation solidly. And GASEM continues to do that. And they're holding us up as well as one of our partners for the key point. GASEM is the nation builder. And a number of you have also been commenting about my outfit this morning. It's just because we're anticipating the victory of Ghana. We've qualified already, by the way. FIFA just issued that notice that because of the matches and the outcome of the matches yesterday, we have already qualified, regardless of the outcome of this match today. But it is important that we win. Okay. So this outfit is exclusively put together by Kogra Clothing. The ones with every outfit you see me wearing every Saturday, they put this together. And my guests are also going to get a copy of this or their own outfit as well from Kogra Clothing on this. So if you want this, and well, this is what FIFA just put out not long ago. So this is the FIFA verified handle. Ghana have qualified for the round of 32 following today's matches. So this was 6 hours ago. So this is just to confirm what I was just saying earlier. But for Kogra Clothing, in joining the celebration of the Black Stars, call them for this outfit and many others you see me wearing on Key Point every Saturday. The number is 0244-238-341, 0244-238-341. You can also call Kogra Clothing on, sorry, cancel. Sorry. Yes. You can also call them, on 026 055 8056, 026 055 8056. The number is 026 055 8056. And good morning to Mr. Kofi Bentum Kwansen. He is a former National Security Coordinator. Kofi Bentum Kwansen, thank you. He's doing the watch, and he gave these books for you.
Oh, thank you.
Our guest for today. So Kofi Bentum Kwansen, the former National Security Coordinator, authored this book, Ghana Politics, Some Harsh Words. So you can. I think, Mr. Bento, you have a copy of this already. So yes, this is.
I hope you stated bigotry.
Yes. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Throttle us with bigotry. Why?
Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
What is entertainment in football? For me, entertainment in this game that some people call it football. I call it the winning business. It is to fight 90 minutes for the result to win. The only medicine that works in football it is to win and see everybody happy around us. For me, it was really a football match. The game we play was a really football match. The game that happened against England. Some people, when they see a game with the result 6-1 or 7-1, it is entertainment for one side. The others are the clowns in the pitch. I did not born to make that role, and I don't want that my players. When they play one game, they don't put everything in the game to win the game, to compete at high level. So this is, for me, it is the meaning of entertainment, emotional, technically, drama in the game. And I think the game against England have everything, have drama, emotion. This is all the effort, sacrifices of the players. It was wonderful.
Gentlemen, hold on. Welcome back. This is Key Point on TV3. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, also on the Voice of London Radio, Voice of London Television. Let me just remind you of the National Petroleum Authority. This July, Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference 2026 on the theme Building a Resilient Downstream Policy Innovation and Investment for Growth. His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, will be the distinguished guest of honor. Speakers include Honorable Dr. John Abdullahi Jenapo, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, who is here, the CEO of the NPA, Dr. Patrick Ofori, CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Dr. River Sinopong, CEO of Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. The date is July 16 to 17, 2026, 8 a.m. each day. The venue is Palm Convention Center, and you can call this number to register, 055-822-3678, 055-822-3678. For some more enquiries. The man you just watched is the master tactician who has been celebrated, at least for the past few days, because of that tactic put in place to tackle our colonial masters, England, which end us this point. And we have effectively qualified from what we're hearing now from FIFA. There's been that official notification I showed you earlier. Carlos Queiroz has been praised for this. But we have a game tonight, and I think that the love is back for good reason with the work that the boys have put in place going into this tournament, rated the least in our group. I don't know why the football people made us believe that Panama was going to be Panama is the least to look out for. In the FIFA rankings, they are rated higher than us. So as to how we thought that, we're just going to do away with them with ease. That's why Jerome Ochi is here. He is a sports journalist, celebrated sports journalist and a writer, but also now he wears the hat of the public relations officer for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, national. Congratulations. I think it's in order. But Jerome, it's good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I don't know what pie you the football people are eating right now. Is it a humble pie or a pie of pride?
Well,
because when they were going into this tournament, you said they have a weak goalkeeping.
Oh, sorry.
Weak defense, weak midfield, because there's no Kudus, there's no Jiku, there's no Salisu. Weak striking force. We just didn't have it. Weak Oluman coach, as you people put it. And now here we are.
Yeah, I don't think a lot has changed. Personally, I'm still cautious in my optimism because, you see, you need to score to win. Mm-hmm. And the little I've seen, even though
I commend the coach for whatever he put up against England and ensured our valuable 1 point. I'm still careful because you need to score, and the Black Stars haven't scored, apart from...
They've scored one.
Yeah, apart from the goal against Panama. The teams I am seeing in the World Cup, most of them are scoring, and we haven't really demonstrated that ability to score. The defensive approach is okay, but it was only good for the England game. And we need to look beyond the England game now and see what else do we have to do, especially in the knockout stage where you won't have the opportunity to come back if you go down too many times. And the lack of faith in the team before the competition was not born out of emptiness. I mean, there was a reason not to believe in the Black Stars, because the last AFCON, which was the most competitive competition they could have played before the World Cup, they didn't qualify. The previous 2 AFCONs they had played, they could not win a single game. So the build-up to the World Cup was that the team had not really shown any stellar performance to bank your hopes on, you know. Except to say the Panama win was important. It was our first game. Panama, yes, is ranked better than us. But if you look at what Ghana has done in football, Panama hasn't done anything. And that pride was what we rode on to beat them. And it is why we must celebrate that win. And against England, I didn't have any hope, I mean, to be honest with you, because like I said, I haven't seen the Stars win the way I want them to play to win. But I think the coach did the most important thing, which was to prevent England from scoring. And once you are not scoring, chances of winning is low. And once we were not interested in scoring, what it meant was that our strategy was going to get us what we wanted. Football is more of strategy. I mean, the English media, their commentators have been saying so many things. People say, or people are saying, we play demon football. If demon football will give me what I want in the game, that demon should be celebrated. And I am looking forward to, I mean, we normally will not speak well of demons, but
football,
if it will give me what I want in the game, without any infringement of whatever FIFA says, then I would play that demon football and get my result. Only that I would wish that we beat Croatia, even though we have qualified. Not because anything can happen, but you see, we shouldn't create the impression as if we are there. We are not there. We've scored only 1 goal.
But
you know.
So you also, yes, you judge the team not only by its defensive strength, which has been celebrated in this tournament, but also you want them to explore their scoring prowess because we have strikers.
Yeah, because
but then again, the coach is seeing what probably you are not seeing.
Oh, of course.
He decided
that
of course. He wants to play in a certain way.
Of course. I mean, I have always maintained the position that we are commentators. We are not coaches. And that's why I've even been opposed to the way the FA has handled our coaching issues when it comes to the Black Stars. They don't know better than the coaches. So interferences in the way coaches work is partly why Black Stars have come down. I think what I'm seeing with Carlos Queiroz, there's evidence to show that the interference is either absent or minimal. And if we allow him to do the job, he will do it. So yes, let's not take the coach's job and behave as if we know better than him. I'm sitting here saying that we are not scoring. Perhaps he knows what to do to unlock defenses, and when he's able to score, he will lock up his defense. I want to give him that benefit of the doubt.
Good stuff. I mean, I have all my panelists today dressed and draped in Ghana colors for good reason. All the replica jerseys you are seeing, different forms, except that's Adam Senanu. Lamatic people has a cap, so you compliment that. So this Robert Coleman of Wembley Sports says,
thank you.
So this is for, in fact, there's some for all of you as well. So this one, you are not.
This one is for Efo Senanu.
So immediately as well. So you can't change and wear it now, but at least
why
you
not?
have it.
No, we beg. Just
put it on. I was going to put it over my top.
The camera is on him. The camera is on him. The camera is on him.
What I have for you?
Efo Senanu, we beg you.
I'm just putting it over. What's your problem?
Put it on. No, man,
Cameraman, we beg.
The passion should cover
Camerawoman,
everything.
we beg.
Exactly, let him do it live.
The passion.
Can we be
cover
looking at
everything.
coach, our coach, please, on the screen?
Thank you. So thank you to Robert Coleman.
I'm not sure why Alfred has a
you
problem.
watch the match.
No, I mean, I'm able
This is
to watch
Ghana.
match
It's national
because-
assignment.
Because of the, I'm behind the work, so I see snipers.
Senior
I was not shown on
working
camera.
on an
I
address.
wasn't anything to show.
Mr. Mekudoka is you own a football club, no?
No, I support Mediema because
Mediema,
it's my constituency,
Perfect.
and I've been supporting them immensely.
Let's have you on this.
Tactically, let me commend the coach and the boys. They've done so well, more especially when Panama is twice better than Ghana as far as FIFA ranking is concerned. Panama is ranked 34th, and we are ranked 73rd. So twice, more than even twice, better than we are. And having in any way beaten Panama is something that we need to be proud of. However, we need to be tactical beyond the field. Why am I saying that? With this game against Croatia, I will recommend that some of our reserve players must be put on the field because we can tactically kind of dodge that of Portugal. Why? Because if we lose this match, we are likely to play against Colombia. If we win, we are going to go to Canada, of which Partey is not going to be allowed in terms of visa acquisition and all that. So myself, thinking through and being tactical, I believe some of our reserve players must be also tested on the field. If we lose, better for us, because then we're going to go Colombia route, go through I think Sweden before hitting quarterfinals. And if we are beaten or we are lucky to beat Argentina in quarterfinals, so be it.
How is this luck?
Oh, I mean, there's a possibility. If we have beaten Panama, who is ranked 34th, and beating and had a draw with England with the number 4, why can't we beat Argentina? It's the possibility is there. I have so much confidence.
So you would
in this
rather
team.
we lose this match?
I will prefer that route, because if you don't, you are going to Canada with that party. Partey changed the dynamics of the game. If you are a soccer enthusiast,
I see,
and you practically, understand soccer, he was everywhere on the field, and he was the protagonist as far as that play was concerned. So I would prefer that route to the Canada route, where Portugal, beyond Portugal, then you are going to play Spain. Yes,
I see. But I don't know how Jerome feels about this proposal you are making. That lose the game tonight so that you can get an easier
pathway.
You disagree?
Look, I was going to say the same thing.
You agree that we
absolutely.
We should lose this?
There are permutations. When you get to the level of the World Cup, honestly, nobody is interested in playing pretty football. It's strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say, one, now that our qualification is set, we know we are not going to fall back. We need to try other people, build their confidence. Two, we need to do the permutations to know who we are going to meet. If you choose, or if you have to choose between meeting Cristiano Ronaldo, who has a point to prove against Messi and co, okay, in Portugal,
right,
or meet Colombia, who will you choose? So, if you have already qualified, and a win is going to lead you into Ronaldo's trap, and then you are not going to have Partey, okay, but a dignified lose or loss is a strategic move which is going to lead you to Colombia, and you are going to have Partey and other people. Which one makes sense? At this point, you talk about demon football. Which one makes sense at this point? So look, guys, no, you know what? We need to sensitize Ghanaians to this.
So that when we lose tonight,
the euphoria is very high, and if you lose, people may, be a bit crestfallen. I mean, me, Black Stars, I don't watch them with my heart anymore. I watch them with my small intestine. Okay, so if this kind of information goes out, and by the way, Carlos Queiroz is proving to be a strategist.
Yeah.
He's not interested in pretty football. Okay? I mean, he's packing the bus and making sure that nobody is getting through. So he might as well do what we are talking about. But the question is, how will it be received? And football, look, support means a lot. So I think people must be open to that idea.
So on the balance, the pendulum swings for you towards that route of lose tonight and get a better path to progress in the competition.
Yes, honestly, what I've been checking a few things. It looks like whether we will not lose, we have to choose between Portugal and Colombia.
Yeah, if we draw, we'll go into Portugal.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to Canada to meet Portugal.
But the question now becomes whether we are going to play in Canada
if you even draw.
Or US. And when it comes to Canada or US, party becomes an issue.
Okay. So Colombia will play in Atlanta,
I believe
which is still in the US. And then we'll go.
Okay. But Colombia is when we top the group.
No, when we lose.
That's what
Colombia is when we lose.
That's what it looks like.
When we win,
you let the football
we are going to Canada.
But you see,
I'll come to you. Okay. Jerome, if this is one that finds favor,
it's very tactical.
Well, you see,
there's another school of thought.
What I want at the end of the day is progress,
each and every team,
which we have already secured. What I don't want us to do is to think that even with defeat, we are okay, so we should lose. Because you see, the knockout stage of the competition will demand more than whatever we have seen in the group stages. And while I agree with the strategy, I mean, football is strategy. You need to do things that will inure to your progress. That's why Jose Mourinho, even though I don't think it's a good thing, he would tell his players, take a yellow card, take a red card, miss this game, so the next 2 games you can play. It is strategy. He wants to lose a player for a game that he doesn't consider so important, so that player will be available for the next 2 games, which is more important to him than maybe the fans. So the strategy makes sense, but I'm also looking at the psyche of the team. We shouldn't forget, and I keep making this point, that we are not a team that has been winning. So a win has its own advantage for us. It builds confidence. It shows the world that you have the ability to win, and you can win at the most difficult time. Maybe we are in a catch-22 situation where we are not sure which way to go. This one has its own advantages. This one also has its own advantages. Left to the coach, in fact, if I am the coach, and especially knowing the role Partey can play, maybe for this, on this occasion, I will accept a defeat, and so that I get Partey to play the next game. They can be quite a boogie side.
I see. This is you watch the team close up than we did. We watched on TV, but you were quite close to the action against England. The verdict that we are not as good as we think. Is it one that you agree with?
I think football is largely a question of whether the person is informed. At this moment, I think the coach has assembled one of the best compositions, almost trying to mirror the 2010 team. If you look at the talent, very raw talent, but the challenge I've always maintained is you're able to appreciate how dynamic a team is based on the opponent they are playing with. If you look at our first 11, even against England, hardly would you see 3 sets of players that have played either the same league or the same team consistently for a year. Different people coming together within just this period. If you compare to the English national team, you can have the likes of Declan Rice, you can have Saka, all playing every week consistently. You can see Madueke, you can see Eze, all of those guys. So there's a certain level of consistency in terms of they play together. That you don't see with a Blaster.
Okay.
Now, notwithstanding that obvious deficiency, against England, they were able to basically mark out prominent individuals. I mean, for the first time, I saw the likes of Jude Bellingham and co. Obviously frustrated. I could see, like he said, Harry Kane basically marked out completely out of the game. Look at the excellent work the likes of Opoku, Sibo, Ajete, and co were doing. This is their first World Cup, for Christ's sake. But the confidence level, look at our goalkeeper. His reflexes, absolutely stunning.
Asari, right?
Asari, yes, Benjamin Asari. Absolutely stunning. But that is also consistent with the philosophy of the coach, Carlos. Even when he was assistant to Alex Ferguson, that was basically what he was doing with the Manchester United team. Lock the Catenaccio, kind of play. Lock the back. Keep it up. They locked the back to the point that it got the English team to also play defensive. And so you saw a situation where they got their goalkeeper basically doing more of the work.
They considered the penalty, it just wasn't given.
Exactly, Jedi was not given. Maybe going into the game, one person suggested that our players should also develop the attitude of protesting more. And that if there was more protest, possibly would have gotten the penalty.
Carlos Queiroz responded to that. He says that you are saying the team should respond.
He said that the VAR went for coffee.
No, yesterday at the press conference, he says if they had protested, they could have been given a yellow card.
And he didn't want to risk it.
So he didn't want to risk it. And it is the job of the referee and the VAR.
But he said the VAR went for coffee.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, at that time.
That's why.
No, I mean, like he sarcastically said but the point I want to make is that I've seen strategies being urged on the team today. You see, at the core of FIFA's work is fair play. So going into a game with the mindset of losing,
it's fair play.
Well, I understand that fair play. Well, I will concede to the superior, the superior wisdom of my learned senior on this and experience. But you see, I strongly believe that for whatever it's worth, I mean, this is Ghana. The pride and everything of the stake of the republic is also at stake. If you go into a game with Croatia, first of all, Croatia is a very respected team, except that they are coming with a bit more aged players comparatively. And so it should be a dignified outcome. And so if you go in and you concede 4 goals in the name of losing to go and play Colombia, it will be obvious on the face of the pink sheets that this one is problematic. So I in all the support I have for the Blaster, my honest prayer is, look, why? We're able to defeat, which country that we defeated and progressed in the 2010 one? The Asamoah squad. There was a very good team. Even with you. Even US, we did well.
Yeah, we beat US.
We beat the US.
We beat US.
But
Even Serbia. At that time, Serbia was number 2.
Okay. It was Czech Republic. That was number 2. That's 2006.
No, he's talking of
2010. Yes, Serbia at that time was either for one of them. But even with that, it was a very respected outcome. Uruguay and co. Even Uruguay, we could have defeated Uruguay for all those.
But there's another school of thought that we need to win.
And you know, you see, just 30 seconds. You see the psychology of the Colombians. Their terrain and others mimic us. They are very tough mentally.
Yeah, very tough.
And so such mentally tough people, I am cautious to having them as opponents. Yeah. Portugal, with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Nunes, and all those guys,
without
a little
party.
flip.
Without a party.
The problem is with the party. But I understand GFA is doing a fresh application, visa application for him because it's allowable. And also contemplating the option of a further review. And also, even the third one, a diplomatic direct engagement
And I
with
think
the
that is a
Canadian,
valuable thing.
Canadian authorities,
It's
so
all
that
go.
we can
All
get
go.
Partey, we can get Partey
To be part of
I'm listening to the strategies,
Yeah.
but
Thank you.
please, they should go and win the game. Let's win the game.
And this is
my school of thought. 33 million.
No, this
Let's
is
go win.
citizenship against
The cycle.
corruption. This is citizenship against corruption.
Let me hear you. You disagree.
I disagree. I love Kofi and strategy. I mean, my brother has always been about strategy. In fact, I'm a strategy person. But I think that looking at the psyche and to terrorize them, you know, give them a bit of trauma, I think we should win. I think we should not worry so much more about Portugal, Colombia.
Yeah.
I think at this stage where we are, given the losses we had before entering this, a win to consolidate the fact that we are going somewhere is critical.
I'll support you if you get
And you know that, and Senator, do you know that if we go further by beating Portugal, can you imagine what this country
Come on.
will be?
Okay. So we want the government of Ghana
great for me
to pursue the diplomatic efforts to get Partey's, you know,
that is critical.
If it requires giving a phone call, direct phone call
from
between
the president,
Prime Minister and the President.
Yes,
so
that is very important.
All of these sentiments having been expressed, this is what strategies do.
Mischief.
You don't assume that everything is going to work. So you plan and ask yourself, what if it doesn't work? Number one, what if we don't get a visa for Partey? One. Number two, you are going into a match right
What if we beat Portugal?
and you have already qualified. Okay, are you going to risk your players in this match, which is not consequential? So somebody goes in and one of the defenders break their leg, or you know, Atizigi is not playing now. Why? He was hurt. So you put your big players in a 90-minute non-consequential game, and somebody gets hurt, and you meet Portugal. What are you going to do? So what strategies do is to assume that not everything will work and play against it. Now, as you are moving along, you are shifting. If we get Partey a visa, then maybe we will change something small. But even if we change everything, question, when you have an inconsequential match ahead of you, and you are going to look between picking C. Ronaldo. Now, already people are trolling Ronaldo.
In 30 seconds.
Because of what Messi has
But
done.
what if we top the group?
What if you don't? And I'm saying a strategy does not work with what if. You work with what if you don't.
Anyway, thank you. Daniel,
I want us to win, but I want us to progress more. Let's use strategy.
Daniel Martin says at the World Cup, a team should be ready to play any team. Sometimes the so-called easy path can be your Waterloo. Croatia is a good and compact team.
This man for us.
Their coach has been with them for 4 years. You agree?
Thank you. Yeah.
We thank you so much for this.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So we have you again next week. I thank you.
People will say
we know our level. Gentlemen, thank you so much for
Thank you.